just 5 points apart for the regular season. Buffalo's second place securing them home ice advantage for the divisional semi-finals with Montreal. The Sabres had a one-game lead over the Canadiens in the regular season matchups, and they added a victory to that in the first playoff game. However, Montreal shut Buffalo out in the second game to return home with the series tied, adding wins in the third and fifth games to lead the series 3-2, and needing just one win to reach the division finals. So Buffalo must win this game to stay on the series. Leading their attack is Pierre Turgeon, who has 2 goals and 4 assists in the last 5 games. Just a point ahead of left wing Dave Andreychuk, who's notched up a goal and 4 assists for the Sabres in this series. The Canadiens are without star defenseman Chris Chelios, but in his absence, their playoff attack is led by Stéphane Richer, who has 5 of Montreal's 12 goals in this series. Second highest scorer in the divisional semi-final games has been Brian Skrudland, with 3 goals and 2 assists. So a decisive game in store between 2 closely matched teams. Montreal can win the series tonight, so it's all or nothing for the Buffalo Sabres.
It'll be Darren Pupa starting in goal for the Buffalo Sabres. It's a 2.91 goals against average in 8 playoff games. And for the Montreal Canadiens, it'll be Patrick Roy in goal for the Canadiens. There's a look at Patrick Roy, 2.37 goals against average in 58 career playoff games. And we are ready now to begin the first period. The referee tonight is Bill McCreary. Mark Parry and Dan Shakti are the linesmen. Players underway. Carbono wins the draw, sends it back into Ludwig. And quickly, Buffalo makes the change. Turgeon goes to the bench. It'll come back into the Buffalo zone. Wills goes in to touch it, and Montreal will be called for icing. Grant Ledger not in the lineup tonight. Also Scrax, Larry Playfair, Jeff Parker, Mitch Malloy, Donald Odette, Reed Larson, Ken Priestley, and there's a look at the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens, Pat Byrne. Steve Martinson not in the lineup for Montreal. Chris Chelios out of the lineup. Matt Naslund not playing. Eric Desjardins has been scratched, and Stephane Lebeau.
And a happy Easter, everyone, and I agree with General Manager Jerry Meehan totally when he said, just don't let Montreal steal this with a defensive game. Bring it to them.
Turgeon, Andreychuk, and Corkum, a forward line for Buffalo. Now McPhee had moved in too quickly. The puck is dropped. The loose puck into the face-off circle. Went wide to the Montreal net. Ludwig will take over. He sends it up. It comes over the line. Now taken by Krupp. He fires it right on goaltender Patrick Roy. Swoboda goes back after it. Housley steps on along with Jay Wells. Here's the pass now to McPhee. It'll go to the far side. Carbono. He clears it over the glass and into the crowd here at the Forum in Montreal. The opening minute of the first period.
Coach Rick Dudley, and you don't have to fire him up. He's raring to go, and so are the rest of the coaches. This hockey club is well prepared for this game. There's nothing he can do about it after the puck is dropped. It's up to the players at this point. He just sends them over the boards in the right rotation.
Now Turgeon, Carbono wins the draw. There's Desjardins with the pass to Courtnall, and he lost it to Wells. Now it's cleared. Back to center, slapped by Dufresne, right back into the Buffalo zone. Pupa leaving it behind the net. Housley, he darts back quickly now for Buffalo. Sidesteps one, comes to center. Here's a pass off the boards into the Montreal zone. Desjardins behind the net. He will clear it, gives it to McPhee. Ahead now to Skrudland. Lets the drive go to an off-proof. The rebound taken by Ramsey. Ramsey quickly sends it to Arneal, but he could not knock it down over the Buffalo blue line. Now it comes back. Cleared back into the Buffalo zone. Here's Corson. Ramsey goes after him. Now Corson, the pass in front. It's tipped. It'll come back to the line. Kept in. And Ramsey will take over for Buffalo. Here's his pass. Gives it to Snuggerud with Shannon on the right. The pass over to Shannon into the Montreal zone. Here's Shannon trying to get the shot away. He let it go, but it was blocked from Skrudland. Knocked to the head now to Richer, and he is hit by Ramsey. The puck comes back into the Montreal zone. Patrick Roy will leave it. Daigneault feeds it up to Corson at center. Lets the long drive go. It's cleared. Here's Lemieux. Back it comes to Corson. Recovered by Shannon. He'll send it back to the line. Mogilny's now on the ice. Mogilny, Ruutu, and Shannon, the forward line. And the puck comes into the Buffalo zone. Lemieux left it there now for Keane. It'll be recovered by Kennedy. Kennedy in behind the net. He's jammed to the boards by Lemieux. Now it comes to Bodger. The quick pass up to McGillney at center. He'll step in over the line. Oh, and he lost it. Now Smith comes right back for Montreal. Left it there. Lemieux with the drive, and Pupa makes the save. And the puck back in behind the net. Now it's recovered by Ruutu. Ruutu tipped it ahead, gives it to McGillney. McGillney with the quick pass over to Vive at center. Vive waiting for some help. Buffalo making a change. Hartman steps on. Now the Canadians with Keane. He's bumped to the boards by Foligno. Cleared by Gilchrist into the Buffalo zone. Pupa leaving it for Wells. He left it there. Now Housley going after it. Foligno tries to clear it, gives it to Housley. Ahead it comes to Benoit Hogue into the Montreal zone. Here is Hogue. He steps by one, gets up. Now moves it in front, and Foligno, Gilchrist, he blocks it. Now the Canadians come back. Foligno. Now recovered by Ryan Walter, but his pass went off. Hartman right back into the Buffalo zone. Wells trying to step away from Gilchrist. Here's the pass, and they break back with Hogue and Hartman and Foligno in over the Montreal line. Here's Hartman with the shot.
No one has really laid any hits onto Richer, and this is a very important hit early in the game. That's Mike Ramsey standing up and smacking him right at the red line. Here we go down the other end. And
Kennedy with a drive, the rebound, and Andrechuk could not get to it. Here's Bodger with the shot, and it's blocked, and Kennedy comes up on the play. Tried to work it in front, and Carbonneau is there. He'll clear it. It'll come to McPhee. Here is the pass to Courtnall. He breaks to the line. He's stopped by Kennedy. Now Kennedy giving it to Corkum. He fires it in off the glass into the Montreal zone. Ludwig behind the net. Working it up now for McPhee. Here is the pass. Recovered by Shannon. Shoots it back into the Montreal zone. Patrick Wall leaving it for Svoboda. Now Svoboda. McPhee. Krupp takes it. And he just again slapped it right back into the Montreal zone. Sprudlin going in there. It'll come to Shannon. Shannon in the corner. Gets it back now to Snuggerud. In behind the net. Snuggerud trying to get away from one of the Canadians. He is checked. The puck comes back now, taken by Arneal. Gets it back into the corner. Shannon tried to get to it. Svoboda. Now Snuggerud's there. Here's Snuggerud rolling it back into behind the net. Sprudlin sends it around the boards. Krupp, oh, and he put a big check there. Out of McPhee, and the puck is dumped back into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey backing up against Sprudlin. Now gives it to Krupp. And he starts back quickly at center. He fires out, but right on Patrick Waugh. Buffalo making another change in the Canadians. Come back again. It's tipped into the Buffalo zone. Pupa. He'll play it up now to Krupp. He sends it over the line. Dufresne works it back into the Buffalo zone. Krupp goes back after it. Watched by Courtnall. The pass ahead to Ramsey. Clears it to the line. Now comes back Ramsey. Works it back in. Here's Andrechuk trying to get the shot. He did. It went wide of the net. Vive. Now Vive. Sends it back in Dufresne. It'll go back to Daigneault. Turgeon on him quickly. Back now to Vive. Here's a shot. It's blocked. Tipped away and over the line. The Canadians break back with the speed of Courtnall into the Buffalo zone. Here's Carbonneau. Carbonneau sends it in front, and Andrechuk will bring it back. He comes to center with Housley and Turgeon into the Montreal zone. Here's a backhand drive. The rebound. Vive was hit and knocked down the puck in behind the Montreal net. They try to clear it. It'll come now to Vive. Vive gets it back in behind the net to Turgeon. Now it's finally whistled down.
Andrechuk looking for a little offense here early in the game. It's a backhand shot. It's on goal. It's a save, and Rick Vive looking for the rebound. He's been handcuffed on it. Tried to kick it up to the blade of his stick, but kicked it a little too hard in behind the net.
Face out of the Montreal zone with Ruutu, Corkum to McGillney. Now Ruutu against Sprudlin. Schneider. He'll tip it deep into the Buffalo zone. It's an offside call. Well, the games between the Sabres and Canadians this season pretty well even. The regular season, Buffalo won 4 games, the Canadians 3, and they tied 1. In the playoffs, Montreal has won 3, Buffalo 2. So overall this year, Buffalo's won 6, Montreal's won 6, and they play to a tie.
You're looking at Montreal superstar Stéphane Richer, who has really cracked this series open on a few occasions single-handedly. His output offensively has just been spectacular, and really, Buffalo have been having a heck of a time really trying to nail him with some good body checks, and when you do, he's so big and strong, he just rolls with the check and continues on.
Now he has 7 points, 5 goals, 2 assists. He has 5 of the Canadiens' 12 goals. Now Sprudlin. He'll send it back to Schneider. With a long drive, and Pupa makes the save. Here's Kennedy clearing it. Quickly gives it to Snuggerud. And here's a pass. It deflects into the penalty box area with 13:50 remaining here in the first period. 4 shots for Buffalo, 3 for Montreal.
You know, the referee really has to keep an eye on the banging of the goaltenders, and that has been really obvious here in the past couple games between these two hockey clubs. And very early in this game, Sprudlin took a little bump. He could have cleared to the right of Pupa. Instead, he went into him, and both teams are taking liberties in around the crease area.
Face off over the Montreal line. Krupp fires it off the glass back into the Canadian zone. It rolls right in behind the nets. Here's Snuggerud trying to work it in front. Gets it back to Ramsey. The drive, and Patrick Waugh at the blocker on that one. That comes back in behind the net. It'll be cleared to the Buffalo blue line. Recovered by Ramsey. Now his pass for Arneal. He tipped it on into the Canadian zone. Schneider with Shannon into forecheck. Schneider clearing it to Corson. He's taken to the boards. Now Krupp works it through to Benoit Hogue into the Montreal zone. He lost control at the blue line. Buffalo making another player change, and Richer gains control. Watched by Hogue. Now Foligno takes over. Fires it back into the Montreal zone. There goes Hartman in against Lefebvre. They bump into the corner. Here's Hartman, gets it out in front. And Foligno unable to get his stick on it, and the Canadiens come right back with Richer in over the line. He is knocked down. A loose puck. Here's Keane. There's going to be a penalty coming up to Buffalo. Now Bobby Smith trying to get to it. It comes back. And a referee, Bill McCreary, indicating a penalty. It'll go to the Buffalo Sabres.
Here's the Buffalo defense defending against Richer. Foligno comes back and really pole chops him. Comes down hard. He gets called for the slashing. You see it right there.
And the Canadiens go to the power play with Bobby Smith, Lemieux, and Ryan Walter up front. Swoboda and Daigneault back in the points. Now it'll come back to Daigneault at the blue line. He sends it into the corner. Ryan Walter goes after it. Bobby Smith works it back to Daigneault. It'll come now to Swoboda. Swoboda for Lemieux. Swoboda. Here's Bobby Smith with the drive, and he hit the side of the net with the shot. Ryan Walter worked it back into the corner. Smith now has a little trouble controlling it. Knocked away. Here's Rutu, and he'll fire that one back deep into the Montreal zone with 12:05 left in the first period. Now they come back again with Swoboda giving it to Smith. Steps in over the line, but it's an offside call. Claude Lemieux is in over the blue line before Smith carried the puck in on the right side. With 1:20 remaining in the penalty to Foligno.
Bobby Smith finally is scoring a goal and played a rather good game in that win over Buffalo at the Auditorium. As you see right there, a goal and 2 assists now. And you have to wonder, will that last game wake him up a bit? Is he going to come around now offensively? And so far, from what I can see, he's fallen right back into where he was before. I was curious to find out just if that goal last night, a couple nights ago, would kick him into gear.
Turgeon and Smith. Smith wins the draw. Swoboda. Schneider. He flipped it off the corner boards. Pupa waiting for it. He left it there. Here's a chance now for the Canadiens. Back in behind the net to Smith. Works it back to Swoboda. At the blue line. Now it goes to Schneider. The shot, the save, the rebound, and Arneal comes away with it. He'll flip it right back into the Canadian zone with 54 seconds left. And the penalty to Foligno. Now Swoboda gets to the line. Oh, did he take a check from Ramsey? Now Kennedy slaps it around the boards and back in. Now we've got Rutu holding on to Corson. He was holding him right on the ice. Corson couldn't get up. Now they come back with Schneider in over the line. Lets the drive go. Blocked. There's another chance now. They score! Schneider! A power play goal for Montreal. They take a 1-0 lead.
This is one of the few power play goals for Montreal in this series, and the young kid Matthew Schneider pulls it off. There's the drive. He gets the rebound. Not much you can do right there. You just have to hope the goaltender come up with the save, and in this case, he didn't. Schneider is an awful good-looking young hockey player. You might be looking at one of the superstars of the future as far as defensemen are concerned, because he's really turned on in the playoff series so far. Sees a nice dig to the outside and just backhands it, and boy, that caught the far post, but not by much.
Schneider gets his first goal of the series. And Patrick Waugh will pick up an assist. Now Wells sends it back, gives it to Housley. Here's the pass for Hogue. He steps by one, comes to center, flipped it off the boards into the Montreal zone, and Hogue was taken down to the ice, and Montreal will pick up a penalty.
Strudlin will go.
That'll put Buffalo on the power play.
11 goals here in the regular season for Brian Strudlin. You see he picks up the elbowing penalty, and he is the individual just spearheading the attack this whole series. And there's an elbow and a half. I mean, that guy wound up to St. Catherine Street and rifled it right down his throat. An obvious elbow.
In the Montreal zone, Buffalo goes back to the power play. Their first power play of the game with Andrechuk, Vive, and Turgeon. On the draw, it'll come to Bodger. Bodger trying to look for the shot, gets it to Turgeon. Here's Turgeon trying to work it back, but he was stopped by Carbonneau. Bodger lost it at the Montreal blue line, has to go back into his own zone. Now it'll come to Andrechuk. He fires it into the Montreal zone. A bouncing puck in behind the net. And it's cleared right back into the Buffalo zone with 1:30 left in the Buffalo power play. Housley goes back to retrieve it. Steps by Keane. Now the quick pass, but it's too far for Vive. It'll go into the Montreal zone, and the Buffalo Sabres will be called for icing with 1:19 remaining in the penalty to Strudlin.
Buffalo's power play really hurt them that last game at the auditorium, and it seemed like they were working on the periphery the whole night long, and we're inside instead of working into the middle. Tonight I noticed when they had the puck in the Montreal zone, they had 2 men in front of the net, and that's a little change in plans. You look at Clint Malarchuk and the Buffalo bench.
Andrechuk against Carbonneau. Puck is dropped. Here it comes to Dufresne. He'll give it to Ludwig. There's the shot, and it just went wide. And it'll come back into the Montreal zone. Now Dufresne, he cleared it. Stopped there by Housley. And he drifts that one off the boards into the Montreal zone. Here is Vive trying to work it back. It'll come now to Bodger back at the blue line. Here's Bodger with the drive there. He scored! Vive! This game is tied at 1. A power play goal by Buffalo.
The importance of having a man in front of the net taking a hammering. He's there for the tip in, and I think it's Vive that does catch the tip. Good work right here by Buffalo. It's a correct shoot in. They didn't let the goaltender get control of it. Then it came around, back to the point. There's the shot. Vive is standing there, and it might have caught him, I think, right on the ankle and goes in. There's a drive by Dougie Bodger. You see him set, fire. There's the man in front, and a caught by stick went in right off the far post. Waugh was down looking for it and went over his shoulder.
Scored by number 22, Rick Vive. And the play taking a bit assisted by number 8, Doug Bodger.
Rick Vive has tied this game at 1. Both teams have scored on the power play here in the first period.
22 seconds.
.10:22, the time of the goal. Bodger will pick up the assist. Now it's tied at 1. The puck comes back to the Montreal blue line. It'll be recovered by Krupp. Gives it to Shannon. And he sends it into the Canadian zone to Patrick Waugh. There goes McGillty into forecheck. Around it'll come now. Ruutu puts Lemieux into the boards. He kicked it over the line. It comes back into the Montreal zone. Schneider. Now the pass for Bobby Smith. He'll just tip it on into the Buffalo zone. Kennedy in behind the net. Sends it around. Gives it to Shannon. He'll come back with Ruutu. Ruutu in over the Montreal line now. Waiting for some help. Here's a pass to McGillty. And he couldn't get the shot on goal. Shannon backhanding it in front. It'll go to the corner boards. Taken by Ruutu. Slaps it in front. The shot tipped wide by McGillty. Here's McGillty getting it back now to Wells. Loose puck at the side of the net. Now Wells deep into the corner. Sends it back in behind the net. McGillty tried to get it out in front. A bouncing puck. Here's a drive there by Shannon. And Lemieux will take it in the far board. He'll bring it back. He's stopped there by Wells. Ryan Walter will go into the corner. Kennedy goes after him. It'll come to the side of the net. Knocked away by McGillty. And it appears as though there's going to be a tripping call.
Christian Ruutu goes for tripping. Montreal back onto the power play. They scored their only goal on the power play, and the same goes with Buffalo. And both these teams could hardly buy a power play goal earlier in the season.
Now Richer is on the ice. Richer has 5 goals. Swoboda giving it to Daigneault. And then he lost control for a moment here. Snuggerud, he's playing without a stick. Now Swoboda gets it back to Daigneault. Here's the shot. Krupa makes the save of the rebound, goes directly to Krupp, and he'll send it back into the Montreal zone. Daigneault now brings it back at center. Here's the pass intended for Corson. It goes in behind the Buffalo net. Scrudlin trying to work it in front. Richer. Now Krupp gets it free. Back to Daigneault. Sends it over to Swoboda. Gets it into Richer. Richer along that blue line. He'll tip it over to Daigneault. It'll come back. Richer has it. Krupp goes after him. And then Ramsey put Richer into the boards. Corson, he is knocked down. Scrudlin trying to dig it free. Now Krupp is there. Here's Ramsey. He'll tip it up now to Snuggerud. And he flips it back to the center ice area. 55 seconds left in the penalty to Ruutu. Here comes Swoboda. Back in over the Montreal line to Richer, but it went over the blade of his stick. Knocked away by Krupp. And Swoboda. Now the pass for Corson. Oh, and he took a check there from Ramsey. Now it comes to Shannon. Cleared it to Turgeon. He stepped away from Ryan Walter. Walter had him lined up. And Schneider dropped it back for Swoboda. 27 seconds left in the penalty to Ruutu. Smith in over the line. The pass went behind Ryan Walter. Taken by Swoboda. Now Schneider. Slides it through to Bobby Smith. Hacked out by Bodger. Bodger now. He tipped it into the air. And now Ruutu will step back onto the ice. Daigneault. In over the line. Giving it to Ryan Walter. Kennedy goes after him. Walter worked it back. It's intercepted by Ruutu. He brings it back now with Hartman. Ruutu with the burst of speed in over the line. Looking, waiting. Now gives it to Pinball Hogue, and Patrick Waugh makes the save. Here's Housley. He clears it. Now it comes back, taken by Lemieux. Ruutu goes after him. He one-hands it into the buff. Oh, Lemieux took a little dive there, a little spin around, went down to the ice. Dufresne. Now sends it back in. A 1-1 tie. 8 shots for Buffalo, 6 for Montreal. Housley bumped off the puck. Now it'll go back into the corner. Wells. He'll take over. Lost it now to Gilchrist. The shot, put for the save, and Housley gives it to Hartman. At center with Foligno. He'll tip it high into the air. Foligno going in there with Dufresne to the corner boards. Hartman comes up on the play. Now the Canadians start to come back. Hope keeping it in. Here's Foligno. He's checked from behind. It'll come back now to Housley. Now to Foligno. Let the shot go, and it went in behind the Montreal net. Now Ewan. He clears it to center. Housley giving it to Turgeon. He'll come back in over the Montreal line with a long shot, but it was blocked at the last moment. And Turgeon has to stick on the play, and now Swoboda with 5 chasing him. Ludwig. Here's the pass to McPhee, recovered by Vive. He comes back into the Montreal zone. He has stopped. The puck deflects off his skate over the line, and Richuk shoots it back in. Swoboda, 4:37 left in the first period. 1-1 tie. Now it is tipped through to Courtnall. Courtnall left it there for Carbonneau. Carbonneau unable to get the shot. Here's a backhander. Hoopa reached out and gloved that to hold on.
Hoopa is really strung tight. Cat-like reflexes. Watch this backhand coming up right there in the far corner. He's out there spearing it, but as quick as you can move your hand. It is right there. You can see it spring free in the far side, and all of a sudden that shot is taken in a flash.
Face off of the Buffalo zone. Recovered by Krupp. Flipped it around now for Shannon. Shannon backhanding it into the Canadian zone. Lefebvre will go back after it, being watched there by Arneal. Now Richet's pass to send away Corson into the Buffalo zone. Corson flipping it on into the corner. Ramsey, he gets it around. Lefebvre, here's a screen shot, and Puppa came out of the goal crease to make the save. And it looks like Ramsey's going to go to the penalty box for holding. And that will put Montreal on its 3rd power play. They are 1 for 2.
Brian Skrudlin is always going to the net. He did it again. And this time, Mike Ramsey, you see right there, he's got his both arms around him. The shot is taken. He wants to spin him around. He took that opportunity away from him, just set him down like a little baby for a nap. One more time. Watch Lefebvre back at the point. He's waiting now for his men to set up. They're set up. Now, who's going to be there for the tip? Well, Skrudlin, he hopes. But Skrudlin has no chance. He's sitting down watching it. You know, Ted, let's get something straight right now. Both these teams are skating their eyeballs out. You can't say any team is taking a night off tonight. I mean, they're going as hard as you can possibly go.
Well, Buffalo with 8 shots, Montreal with 9. One thing that Sabres are doing in this first period, they're dumping the puck into the Montreal zone, then they're getting on the Canadians quickly as possible.
They're attacking. That's the whole story. That's something they have. They're attacking, trying to bring the offense to them.
That's Snuggerud and Schneider. Watched by Ruutu. Round it'll go, and Richet. Now Ruutu. Richet gets it back to Schneider. Now the pass comes to Skrudlin, but it'll be taken by Arneal, and he'll flip it back into the Montreal zone. 3:33 left here in the first period. Canadians on their 3rd power play. They're 1 for 2. Throwing it off the glass into the Buffalo zone. Arneal's in there. He's bumped by Corson. It's taken now by Krupp. Krupp cleared it to center. Here he comes. He's got Turgeon with him. Krupp gets in over the line. He whistled that one wide. Turgeon. He'll flip it back into the corner. Now Skrudlin. Krupp goes to the bench. Buffalo making a change. It'll come to Corson. Into the Buffalo zone against Kennedy. Kennedy and Corson. Richet trying to get it free. Ruutu is there. Bobby Smith sends it back to Daigneault. In now for Smith. Here's Dufresne with the shot. Puppa came out and made the save, and Ruutu is there, and he'll clear it the length of the ice back into the Montreal zone. Now there's 41 seconds left in the penalty to Ramsey. 2:35 to go in the first period. Tied at 1. Daigneault gets it off the glass into the Buffalo zone. Lemieux, he was bumped by Kennedy. Now Lemieux in behind the net. Trying to work it to the corner. Here's Smith with it. Ryan Walters in front. It'll come back to Daigneault. Smith back to Daigneault. The pass over, the drive, where is it? Hoopa thought it had gone over the crossbar. He had it off the glove, and then it came right down. The rebound, it was cleared back into the Canadian zone.
Slid right across and caught it almost on the Adams apple.
Now Ramsey. Here's Housley. Now taken by Hogue. Tipped it through to Hartman into the Montreal zone. Hartman tipping it right through the goal crease. Lemieux is there. Hartman in after it. Here's Hartman with it. He sends it back, gives it to Wells with the shot. Didn't get through. It hit Hartman. Taken by Swoboda. Now Buffalo is back at full strength. Now here's Keane with it. Keane gets in over the line against Housley with the shot off the left arm of Hoopa. Now the puck back in behind the net. Recovered by Housley with 1:24 to go. Here's Wells. He comes back at center. Lemieux went into the boards. Here's Hogan behind the net. Now Keane. It is tipped away by Ewan, but Wells is back to recover. Now giving it to Hartman, and he just slashes that one back into the Montreal zone with 1 minute to go. Buffalo makes another player change. Here they come again. Gilchrist. There's it into the Buffalo zone. Kennedy will go after it. Now Ewan bumps into Kennedy, knocked him down to go to McGildy into the Montreal. Here's McGildy trying to get in on goal to get the shot away, and he is taken down to the ice. It goes back into the corner. Ruutu with it. Ruutu, Lefebvre. Now Schneider. 31 seconds left in the period. It'll come back into the Buffalo zone, and Pupa has to play it around the boards for Vive. Vive tips it high into the air. Gloved down by McGildy, but it's a two-line pass, and they whistle it down with 20 seconds remaining here in the first period.
I mentioned earlier in the series you have to be very careful playing against Montreal as far as moving the puck up the center. Buffalo tried to pull it off a couple times tonight, and they picked off both passes. This has to be frightening for a defenseman. With his speed, Schneider plays him just perfectly. Now let's keep an eye on Darren Pupa as he comes across and takes this right on the chest. Beautiful timing, goes across with the pass, and that was Lemieux taking that drive.
"20 seconds remaining of the first period. Now the faceoff will be in the Buffalo zone. 11 shots for Montreal, 9 for Buffalo.
Montreal haven't changed their game plan at all. It's just the same style, up and down, grind away, wait for the other team to make the mistakes, let Buffalo put the show on the road. Buffalo, they're showing much more attack tonight on the offense. They're trying to dictate how this game will be played. It's difficult to do against a team like Montreal because they're so good defensively.
Here is Courtnall with the drive and the save. Pupa got the right pad on that one to make the save on Courtnall. Now it comes back into the Montreal zone with 10 seconds left. It'll come to the line, cleared by Bodger. 5 seconds remaining, and Rachuk just flipped it on into the Canadian zone. That's it, the end of the first period. 12 shots for Montreal, 9 for Buffalo.
Every Tuesday night, Eurosport presents dramatic action, incredible confrontations, extraordinary antics, unbelievable battles. In plain English, the superstars of wrestling. These great and glorious gladiators grapple with each other in a fearsome frenzy of marvelous mayhem. Tonight at 10, 9 UK.
On Eurosport.
Mats Naslund is still out of the lineup with a groin injury. Chelios had a knee injury, but he's back skating. The doctor told him to try it. He missed 21 regular season games and 5 playoff games, but Chelios is back skating, but he's skating lightly.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched him skate today in practice, and it looks like he could make the All-Star team right now. That's how well he's skating. You wouldn't know he's injured.
Now Ludwig inside his own blue line, giving it to Swoboda. Corkum. He ran into Swoboda. Ludwig giving it to Courtnall. They'll come back at center. Brings it in over the line. Dropped it back for McPhee. Checked by Snuggerud. McPhee. Snuggerud after him. McPhee still in control. Gets it back to Swoboda onto the stick of Housley. Housley's pass now for Snuggerud. He'll skate to center, backhanded in. It's gloved down by McPhee. The quick pass to left. Scrudland in over the line, and Courtnall missed it. Recovered by Arneal. Comes back with Housley. Here's Housley. Lets the shot go. The save, the rebound. A jam at it.
And
the light went on.
And I can't see how they're going to call it a goal.
The light had gone on, but Bill McCreary indicates no goal.
We've had very, very little offense from Phil Housley so far in this series. If they want to win this game tonight, Phil has to move up the ice just like he did right there and put a concentrated effort into his offensive game here and really kick in offensively. He's capable of doing this, and when he's not doing it, you're taking an awful lot away from his game. This shot almost went in. It was just laying there for someone to poke in. They finally got on the puck, but the whistle had already blown.
Face off from the Montreal zone. Snuggerud and Scrudland. Now Richer gone offside. Scrudland works to the back in behind the Montreal net. Here's a quick pass. When it comes back into the Buffalo zone, Ramsey. He flipped it off the glass to Arneal. Here's the long pass for Shannon. Snuggerud in front of the net. The pass knocked gloved by Patrick Waugh. It's a high pass, and Patrick Waugh just reached up and gloved that.
Here's some more offense. This is a long cross-ice pass. Shannon was caught along the boards. Still, he brings the puck right in front of the goaltender, looking for someone to tip it. And you see Snuggerud digging in right now, trying to find the puck and bat it out of the air, and he missed it.
Patrick Waugh with a .912 save percentage in the regular season, the best in the NHL. Here's Crook with a shot, but it was blocked by Daigneault. He tried to give it to Courtnall at center. It slides into the Buffalo zone. Whoopa playing it right back into the corner. Carbonneau working it to the side, glove down by McPhee. Here's a pass to Courtnall. Loose puck now. They go to the... No, Carbonneau, he's right in behind Darren Puppa.
Krupp put him in there.
And it was Krupp that put him in there, and the net apparently came off to Magnet with 18:37 remaining. But getting back to Patrick Waugh, the best save percentage in the NHL. He received a trophy and a $10,000 donation to a charity of his choice. Liut, Puppa, and Fitzpatrick followed Patrick Waugh.
That's one way to control Carbonneau. Put him right in the net and sit on him. Speaking about sitting on, so how about the winning goal last night, the Calgary-LA game with Krushelnyski right down on his belly, and it takes a swipe at it and it goes in. It was
right
like it was from a Sam Peckinpah movie.
Wow. That was 3 o'clock. I was still watching that game at 3 o'clock in the morning here in Montreal. Now the puck is cleared into the Canadian zone. Daigneault in behind the net. He brings it back to center. Fires it in off the corner boards. Puppa tried to leave the rebound. Courtnall intercepted. Scrudland with a drive, and Puppa grabbed that when Scrudland tried to put it in on the short side, but Puppa made the save.
Quick defensive lapse on Buffalo's behalf. Forward, not back, to pick the loose man up, and you'll see right here, watch once the puck is shot in deep. Here's where you have to react. Goaltender sets it up for the defenseman. Kennedy's beaten to the puck, and it comes right back, and no one really has Scrudland. He can step right. As a matter of fact, he could have held on to that puck and walked in closer, but he elected to shoot.
The Los Angeles Kings eliminate the Calgary Flames, the defending Stanley Cup champions. They win the series 4-2. Edmonton, Winnipeg, that game series is tied at 3. They'll play tomorrow night.
I picked Calgary to win the Stanley Cup this year. Nice pick, Mike.
Now, Carbonneau and Andrechuk. Ramsey. Well, Turgeon missed it, comes back to center. Schneider slapped it again back into the Buffalo zone. Carbonneau's waiting for it on the far side. He cleared it in. Ramsey sweeps it around the boards. Here's Andrechuk with it. He starts back now. The quick pass over to a breaking Turgeon into the Montreal zone. Turgeon, he sends it back to the line to Ramsey, shooting the rebound, and it'll come back and over the Montreal blue line. Ramsey, he'll flip it Right back into the corner. Lefebvre. Now it's knocked out by Snuggerud. Taken by Shannon. Sends it back into the Montreal zone. Schneider with 17:30 left here in the second period. Tied at 1. Richer. Watched by Arneal. Out goes to Schneider. Taken by Bobby Smith at center. Waiting for some help. He is checked there by Wells. And the puck will come now to Snuggerud into the Montreal zone. Snuggerud trying to get it back. It goes to the corner now behind the net to Shannon. Shannon was hit and knocked down. Housley worked it back in behind the net. Here's Shannon out to Arneal, and Arneal just couldn't get to the puck. And Ryan Walter was hit by Snuggerud and knocked down. Lefebvre brings it to the line with a long drive and a Puppa deflecting it to the far side. Now recovered by Arneal. He sends it back over the Buffalo blue line. Quickly, Lefebvre shoots it back in. Montreal makes a player change in Wells. Starts back up the ice with the pass to Housley. Gets to center into the Montreal zone. In over the line. He'll clear it in behind the Canadiens' net. Now Swoboda. Wells trying to keep it in. McGillney will take over at center. Oh, McGillney had a little trouble with that. Now it comes back to Kennedy. He sent it the length of the ice right on Patrick Wall. Now it comes back to Vide. Works it into the corner for Ruutu. It'll come back to Kennedy. Here's a long shot. It was blocked. The puck goes over the glass into the crowd.
Well, Buffalo's looking for more offense, and one way you can pick up more offense is get your defenseman active. And in that case, it was Mike Ramsey staying up on the blue line, gambling a little bit, and it almost paid off. That's why it's so important that Phil Housley gets involved here offensively. If they want more offense, he can trigger it.
Richer. Giving it to Ludwig. Back it comes to Swoboda. He steps to center. Long shot. Gloved by Puppa. Taken now by Bodger. Giving it to Hartman. Hartman's pass to Foligno at center into the Montreal zone. He is stopped, hit by Ludwig and Swoboda. Canadians start to come back. Richer was hit and knocked down. Cleared by Hogue into the Montreal zone. Foligno get after it. Swoboda. Now Arneal. He's taken to the boards by Keane. Snuggerud trying to get it free. It'll come to Snuggerud. Here's Snuggerud. Lets the shot go. Foligno unable to get to the puck. Go to the corner. Back now for Arneal. His shot was blocked and Swoboda recovers. Now the pass at the line. Richer lost it to Krupp. Slides it over to Ramsey. Now the pass to Arneal. Comes to center. Clears it into the Montreal zone. Dufresne. Daigneault steps to center. Now picked off by Snuggerud. He left it there for Shannon into the Montreal zone. Here's a pass to Arneal. He gets tied up and Corknell goes down to the ice and Daigneault sends away Corson. Here's Corson. He's hit by Krupp and knocked down. Now here's Corknell with the drive and that's deflected over the glass and into the crowd. No, it comes back to the blue line to Dufresne. There's a shot there. Puppa makes the save. Squirtland and Ramsey get tied up in front of the Buffalo net.
That's a rough call on
Could be
Ramsey.
an interference call. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
This will be the second time in this game where Mike Ramsey has been called after being tied up with Skrudland, bringing the man down to the ice. And earlier in the game, he was called for almost the same type of infraction, a little different, right in front of the Buffalo goal. Ramsey argued that call. He didn't on the first one, but the last one he did. Stéphane Richer, number 44, and you can see they're standing right up and popping him tonight. It makes all the difference in the world. Ramsey set the tone early with a heck of a hit on him early in the game. He stood right up the red line, met him head on.
Ruutu against Corson. Montreal on the power play. They're fourth. They're 1 for 3 tonight. Now it's tipped back in behind the net. Bodger just slapped that one right back into the Montreal zone. Ruutu trying to get in after it. Watched by Swoboda. Schneider. Now Arneal in on the play. It'll come to Skrudland. He dropped it back to Schneider. Left it there for Swoboda to the Buffalo line. And it's an offside call at the Buffalo blue line.
The Buffalo game, part of their game that's so obvious to me is the fact that Sabres defense is standing up and really challenging the Montreal forwards tonight. They're doing some hitting also. Mike Ramsey in the first period had 3 solid hits in the neutral zone. That's between the 2 blue lines, and just makes all the difference in the world. Coming up shortly, we'll have tonight's trivia question brought to you by Stove Rock and Herman Real Estate. Happy to announce the opening of their latest office in Metropolitan Toronto.
Face off over the Buffalo line. Ruutu and Skrudland with 1:40 left in the penalty to Ramsey. Ruutu sends it back in. Here's Bodger. Now Bodger works it off the boards, gives it to Snuggerud. He slapped it right back into the Canadian zone. Swoboda. Now the Canadians. Here they come with the extra man. Swoboda. It hit the linesman right at the blue line, and it comes back to Schneider. Now for Courtnall, lost it to Ruutu. Ruutu flipped it on in behind the Montreal net. Now Courtnall. He'll bring it back. 1 minute remaining in the power play for Montreal. Kennedy, he cleared it back into the Montreal zone. Arneal going into forecheck against Schneider. Now it's knocked away by Turgeon. Turgeon trying to feed it through to Arneal, and he is stopped over the line. Here's Turgeon, gets in over the line, but Arneal was offside. And it's whistled down for the face-off over the Montreal blue line. 39 seconds left in the penalty to Mike Ramsey.
Look at Pierre Turgeon, still really not all that noticeable in tonight's game. He's been kept well under check. Of course, up here, they made such a big to-do out of Richer versus who would be the better.
Well, tonight the Bruins playing in Hartford, and Hartford has a 1-0 lead over Boston, and a goal by Young. And Washington leading New Jersey 2-0, and goals by Leach and Courtnall. Now Smith. He cleared it, but it's knocked down by Bodger. Loose puck along the boards, recovered by Ruutu with 23 seconds left. Group coming up on the play. Here's Ruutu. Lets the drive go, and it is wide. Lemieux waiting for it. Lost it off the blade of his stick at Bodger. Just sends it back into the Montreal zone. 10 seconds, and Ramsey will step back onto the ice. Dufresne. And it comes to Lemieux. He'll tip it into the Buffalo zone. Pupa waiting for it. Here's Krupp and Lemieux. Pupa gets back in the goal crease. Now Hartman sends it off the glass. And Ramsey's back on the ice, and the Canadians go 1 for 4 on the power play. Daigneault, watched by Hartman. Now Dufresne, it's kept in by Foligno. Here's Foligno, sends it right in front of the net. Housley darts back to the blue line, slaps at it to keep it in. Daigneault. Now Smith gets tangled up with the referee. Daigneault in behind the net. Hogue watching him. Hartman up on the play. Smith, he'll tip it right back into the Buffalo zone. Hartman puts Smith into the boards. Housley, here's the pass. Missed by Hartman at the Montreal blue line. Swoboda working it back now to Vive, and he sends it into the Montreal zone. Here comes Benoit Hogue along the boards. With Ewan, Vive in behind the net. Goes to the corner. Sends it back now to Andrechuk. Here's Andrechuk putting it in front, and Housley couldn't get the shot. Now Andrechuk with it again. Andrechuk still stick handling with it. Has it in the corner. Now it's gloved down by Oak, and he tried to kick it in. He was tied up in the goal crease.
Desperation at this point, and they should be desperate. The strength of Dave Andrechuk and his reach. He backhands it to the front of the net. When you're tied up, sometimes all you can do is kick it. That's what they tried to do, and down goes Hogue like a big redwood.
Face off into the left of the Montreal net with Turgeon and Carbonneau. Turgeon, Corkum, and Andrechuk. Here's Andrechuk, couldn't get the shot. McPhee will bring it back for Montreal. His pass onto the stick of Courtnall. He sends it into the Buffalo zone. Pupa leaving it for Housley. Housley around the boards for Corkum. Corkum, the quick pass to Andrechuk. but it's called on the offside. It went over the two lines with 10:58 remaining here in the second period. 16 shots for Montreal, 13 for Buffalo.
Well, let's go along to tonight's trivia question and try this one on for size. Which former Montreal goalie holds the team record for the most career playoff shotouts? Tonight's trivia brought to you by Stovroff and Herman Real Estate. First and foremost in Canadian relocation.
Face-off inside the Buffalo line. Carbonneau and Turgeon. Carbonneau sends the puck back into his own zone. Lefebvre being watched there by Andrechuk. Andrechuk. Lefebvre off balance. Now it's kept in. Here's Andrechuk into the corner. Andrechuk trying to work it in front. Hit the side of the net. Carbonneau with Slocum after it. McPhee. Here's a quick pass to Courtnall into the Buffalo zone. He dropped it back to Schneider. Then he lost it. It's recovered by McPhee. Here's McPhee going right in on goal. He is stopped there and reaching back. Yeah.
No.
Bubba grabbed the puck. The goal light did not go on. Bubba had the puck right in the goal line. Now Carbonneau clears it through to Courtnall. McPhee comes up on the play. Here's a pass onto the stick of Wells. Gives it to Carbonneau. Steps in over the line. Here's Courtnall down. He lost it and Andrechuk takes over. He'll flip it back into the Montreal zone where the fans aren't too happy on that call. But Bubba reached back and had it before it gone over the goal line. Now Krupp goes to the corner. He bumps. Recovered by Ramsey. Montreal making another change. Here it comes to Snuggerud, to Arneal into the Montreal zone. Brudlin left it there for Richer. The long pass comes into the Buffalo zone. Krupp goes back after it. And he puts it onto the stick of Richer. Then he lost it to Snuggerud. Here comes Shannon. Now for Snuggerud. Stop to the line. Snuggerud trying to get in on goal. There's the drive, and Patrick Wall made the save on the deflection. Now Corson. Krupp kicked at it. Here's Shannon with it. Tried to slide it through, but it's intercepted by Duquesne. He'll come right back into the Buffalo zone. Richer heads towards the net. And Puppa deflects the puck into the corner. Now the puck comes back over the Buffalo blue line. Sprudlin gives it to Corson. He is hit and knocked down, and Krupp will take over. It'll go deep into the Montreal zone. There goes Krupp against Schneider. And Buffalo will be called for icing.
Head coach Pat Burns of the Canadiens is up on the bench right now yelling for a goal. You make the call. There it is right here. They'll wheel to the front of the net. Big collision. Now the puck squirts free. Watch the glove. Watch the glove. Oh, that puck did not go in. Brings it right back out, but still Courtnall had a good shot really of just banging it out of his glove, and he missed.
Tied at 1 with 8:52 remaining in the second period.
How about the one last night in L.A.?
Yes, I watched that one. And
tough call,
well,
wasn't
Denny Morel, he lost sight of the puck and then finally decided to blow the whistle. He blew the whistle, and then you couldn't really see in the replay whether it went in over the line or not.
First time I looked at it, I thought it went in, and then the more I'd look at it, the more I wasn't quite sure, you know? It just, mind works funny ways, I guess.
Mogilny, he lost it. Now Daigneault brings it back into his own zone. Here's the pass for Keane. Off the skate of Mogilny, recovered by Smith. He gives it to Schneider with the long drive, and Puppa gloved that one. And he held on to that. The Sabres have had just one power play here tonight. Well, Montreal has had a total of 4. Buffalo 1 for 1 on the power play.
Look at the trainers in behind the Buffalo bench. Backup goaltender Brian Hayward. Him and Malarchuk, they both have not had any action so far in this series. And with the game's being played every second night now, I think you can afford to go with that one goaltender a little longer than going with him 4 to 5 nights as it usually was before with that second goaltender, which was imperative that you had a good backup or you were in trouble.
Now in the American Hockey League in the Southern Division, Rochester defeating Utica Friday night 6-2. They win the series 4 games to 1. Baltimore leading Adirondack 3 games to 2, and then Rochester will play the winner of the Baltimore Adirondack series. And Rajak brings it into the Montreal zone. He puts it in front to Vai, but his shot went wide. Here's Turgeon. Back in behind the net now to Vive, and it's gloved by Patrick Waugh. Capitals now lead the New Jersey Devils 2-1.
Well, tonight's trivia question was, which former Montreal goalie holds a team record for the most career playoff shutouts? And the answer, the great knitter himself, Jacques Plante, 10 shutouts in 90 games. Did that man net? And a goaltender in the National Hockey League, and that's what he was famous for, besides being a goaltender, was the fact that to relax, he used to do some knitting. He would knit toques,
he knitted toques.
Ski caps in the States, but up here they're called toques.
Washington with a 2-1 lead over the Devils, and they lead in that series 3-2.
Hartford 1-0 over Boston.
Now Gilchrist against Koch. The puck will go to the corner. Foligno and Swoboda. Gilchrist reaches back and comes away with the puck now for Montreal. Andrechuk stepped onto the ice. Now it'll come back. Here's Turgeon. He'll come to center. Flipped it on into the Montreal zone. Patrick Waugh will play it off the glass. It'll come over the line, and Foligno was nailed by Todd Ewan, and Ewan's helmet went off. Now Andrechuk into the Montreal zone. Gives it to Turgeon, but he was unable to get to it. Loose puck in behind the net. Here's Andrechuk getting it back now to Turgeon. Off the skate of Gilchrist. Now the pass to Gilchrist at center. He'll tip it into the Buffalo zone. Vive going in. Steps away from McPhee. With Turgeon on the right, Andrechuk on the left. Vive gets by. Carbonneau gets into the Montreal zone. Here's the drive, and it was deflected off Daigneault. Quick pass, broken up by Wells at center. Andrechuk. He is hit by McPhee. Here's Carbonneau bringing it in. Whacked that one in behind the Buffalo net into Housley. He starts back and over the Buffalo blue line. Gets to center. Here's the pass now for Corkum. Corkum lets the high drive go. It's gloved by Patrick Waugh. Round it'll come, waiting for it is Wells. He'll keep it in, back in behind into the corner now for Benoit Hogue. Gets tied up by Dufresne. Corkum's there. They whistle it down. That'll mean a face-off of the Montreal zone.
I think this year, if everything goes well and we go into the Final Four, we have just as good a chance as anybody to win the cup. Since the Final Four is going to be played in Spain, you have to give the advantage to Barcelona. Jugoplaska is a surprise team, but as you can see, this year they're playing very well. Limoges definitely plays better together as a team. If you want to see great basketball, watch it on Eurosport.
I thought the bars are closing Sunday up here.
Yeah. Saying they're number one. Every time you put a camera on somebody in the stands, they've always got their number one.
Yeah, how come every time I go to interview someone, they put a camera on him, they stop talking?
Face off in the Montreal zone.
You can't shut him up until the red light comes on, and then they have nothing to say.
Hogue and Smith. Now the puck will go to the corner. Schneider. It'll come to center. Housley. He'll tip it high into the air. Then Lemieux took a run at Housley and knocked him back inside the Buffalo blue line. Here's Wells trying to keep it in. He did. He manages to get it in behind the net. Schneider. Here's the quick pass up to the line. Keane checked from behind. He lost it to Hartman. Hartman giving it now to Corkum. He was bumped. Now Smith overskated the puck. Here's Smith into the Buffalo zone with Housley after him. Knocked it over the line. Benoit Hogue goes after it. It comes now to Housley. Here's Housley getting in, but
What's the
It's
call?
I don't know. Looked like calling it an offside at the Montreal blue line.
Oh, Boyle.
Rick Dudley not too happy on that call.
Well, that call might have been correct. Maybe we'll pick it up on the replay, but he was right on top of it. Maybe he made the right call. But if he didn't, this is going to be a costly one for Buffalo. Well, if that's offside, I'll make you a watch.
That's looked like that one skate in the far side was still on the blue line.
He held it up right on the line, and that nullified not a 2-on-1, but a 3-on-1 with a defenseman, a Montreal defenseman that was caught flat-footed. So you might as well say a 3-0 at that point.
5:56 remaining here in the second period. 19 shots for Montreal, 14 for Buffalo. Ludwig, Svoboda. It'll come to Carbonneau. He tried to give it to... Oh, Courtnall, did he take a hip check from Ramsey hit the Buffalo blue line. Now the net is knocked off to the left of Darren Pupa.
That's a good time to catch them with the hip check, is when they make that play, they take their eyes out. They're just admiring the beautiful pass they made instead of watching the man coming in. And Ramsey just catches him perfect. And that's what I like right near the end when you give him the little pitchfork. The extra little shot now right here. Bring him up and flip him over and lay him down for a while. Good night. McPhee, what a great competitor. What a playoff performer. He really comes alive in the playoffs, and that's something you can't say about every player in the National Hockey League. And I find it very interesting to see players, how they play during the season, and then how they perform during the playoffs. A lot of players just aren't there. It becomes very obvious when it happens year after year. So it's a totally different game. It's very tight, it's very concentrated, and it's very emotional.
Face out of the Buffalo zone. The shot by Courtnall deflects into the corner boards. Now McPhee, Courtnall. How to get it back. They've taken it by Turgeon. Here's Turgeon backhanding it. Right back into the Montreal zone. Ramsey had lost his stick on the play and now picks it up. Here's Ludwig. With the pass, it's intercepted by Andrechuk, shooting, and that would have been off the left arm of Patrick Waugh. Here comes Courtnall, one man back. Bodger. Courtnall in over the line. He lost it to Bodger. Ahead it comes to Turgeon, but they call it on the offside. Andrechuk had a great opportunity there, but Patrick Waugh had went off the left arm or his left shoulder.
Well, the Montreal defense have not made mistakes like this too often, but here's one right here, and beautiful anticipation by Andrechuk with the long reach. The shot is taken, and Waugh once again right there with the left arm. But the anticipation was everything. Probably Andrechuk brought him into making that pass. It looked like he could make it, and then he stood right up and grabbed it.
Face out of the Buffalo zone. Scrudlin, it'll come back now. Richer trying to get to it. He gets tied up. And the puck will go to Wells. Kennedy. Now giving it to Shannon. He cleared it to center. Recovered by Arneal. Lets the long drive go. Comes off the boards. Arneal goes in after it. Now recovered by Lefebvre. Corson missed it. Krupp goes back after it. And it hit Shannon. He didn't see it. Here's Corson with it. They get a whistle. 4:34 remaining here in this second period.
Look at Mike Ramsey, 23 points in 59 career NHL playoff games. Certainly is one of the veterans on this hockey club when it comes to playoff performance. Montreal certainly with the upper hand there in playoff experience. But as Buffalo says, you have to start someplace, and why not now? And there's no reason why they can't. Like man for man, they have a better hockey club than Montreal. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win it.
Face off in the Buffalo zone. Snuggerud and Scrudlin. Now Scrudlin has left the face-off area. That'll bring in Corson. It'll go to the corner. Recovered by Ramsey. Gives it to Arneal. Slides it ahead now for Shannon. Sends it into the Montreal zone to Patrick Waugh, leaving it for Lefebvre. Here's Arneal. Has it now in the corner. Sends it into the front of the net, but Schneider was there to knock it away, and Richer will bring it back. Here's the pass to Corson. Lets the shot go. Deflected. off the corner boards. Strudlin gets it back in, loose puck. Here's Ramsey trying to get it to Snuggerud. It'll be kept in by the Canadians. Krug out of the corner. Ramsey flipped it ahead to Shannon. Knocked it now to Snuggerud. His pass went behind Arneal. But Arneal cleared it back into the Montreal zone. 3:47 left here in the second period. Corson comes back with Keane in over the Buffalo line. Here it goes to Gilchrist. Gilchrist, the drive, he scores! Gilchrist! Brent Gilchrist has scored his first goal of the playoff series, and the Canadiens take a 2-1 lead.
All right, let's take a look at it. Here's Gilchrist. They're very, very soft on him when they move the puck over in the side here. They let him cut to the middle. Watch him step right in there. One defenseman is back. The other defenseman goes with the Montreal player, and they leave him go. He'll cut in. He'll be home free right here. No one lays a mitt on him. Not only that, but Pupa almost had his backside stuck right to the back of the net. Gave him an opportunity to look at openings, and he put one in there.
Now the Canadiens go back into the lead. It's 2-1.
I think once Darren backed into the net, really gave that player Gilchrist an opportunity to score the goal, and he found an opening, and he sunk it in there very nicely.
Snyder and Corson getting the assist on the goal. And it's a 2-1 lead for Montreal. Now gloved down by Wells. Wells works it through, gives it to Ruutu. Here's the pass, but Dufresne's got it. Now Ruutu. Ruutu tied up by Keane. He cleared it. Dufresne sends it back into the Buffalo zone. Housley goes back after it. Now sends it ahead to Mogilny. He'll stop at the line. It'll come back in. Wells swings in behind the Buffalo net. Courtnall. He tipped it high into the air. That goes off the boards into Buffalo territory. Now Carbonneau. He gets it back. Ruutu bumps in there with McPhee. Ruutu sending it back for Courtnall. He is stopped. Ruutu was knocked down. Loose puck in front. Here's a backhand drive. But Pupa makes the save. Mogilny. He flipped it back in behind the net. Housley. Watched by Courtnall. Ahead it comes now. To Corkum, and he is checked from behind by Courtnall. Now Mogilny. He flipped it back, and recovering is Swoboda. Carbonneau. Ahead to Courtnall. Lets the drive go, and it went off. Wells, it's in behind the net. Housley. He'll take over. Watched by Ryan Walter. Gets it back now to Wells. Comes to Mogilny. Mogilny clears it ahead. Hogue gets broken up by Keane. Foligno takes over. He sends it now to Mogilny. Mogilny going in and go. Backhand drive, and he shot it wide. It'll come back. Mogilny had a backhand shot, and he flipped it wide of the Montreal net. Now it comes back to Kennedy. He gives it to Bonger. 1:37 left in the second period. Cleared by Hartman into the Montreal zone. Here's Hartman getting it back into the Canadian territory. Hartman goes in there. Foligno comes up on the play. It is gloved down by Kennedy. There's a long shot. Comes back to Bonger. Here's Bonger with the drive, and it's off a glove. Foligno goes in after to Ludwig. And the puck is cleared over the glass and into the crowd with a face-off of the Montreal zone. 1:14 remaining in the second period.
Goal scorer Gilchrist really showed a lot of determination on that goal, especially cutting to the front of the net, and he did it with so much authority. There you look at Gilchrist, the goal scorer right there, puts Montreal into a 2-1 lead. But here's the opportunity for Alex Mogilny, which we've watched him pull off so many times this season, and the same results. Right in between the defense, he's gone. They get caught a little flat-footed right there. He'll go into the backhand, take the shot, and miss the net by about 2 feet. Montreal have their opportunities also. This is Mike McPhee marching right into the gut of the ice like a good soldier looking for that scoring chance, and he got the backhand away and put it on goal and kicked into the corner.
Turgeon 5 and Andrechuk with 1:14 left in the second period. A 2-1 lead for Montreal. They've had 21 shots. It comes back to Bodger. Bodger lets the shot go, but it's blocked, and Courtnall's there to backhand it into the Buffalo zone. Bodger after that rolling puck. Now there's 1 minute remaining. Kennedy brings it back to center, backhanded into the Canadian zone. It's off the boards. Dufresne slaps it. Kennedy couldn't keep it in, a loose puck. He gives it to Andrechuk. Has to wait for Turgeon to come onside. Sends it back in. There goes 5 in behind the Montreal net. Oh, did he run into Dufresne? Now the Canadians come back. Courtnall's quick pass off the skate. It'll be taken by Courtnall. Courtnall giving it to Daigneault. The pass, it's knocked away by Andrechuk. Now back into the corner. Turgeon slides it over to Bodger. 24 seconds left in the period. Bodger's pass onto the stick of Courtnall. He spins around. Courtnall still with it. There's the shot. And it was deflected and off Puppa. Now Courtnall lost it to Kennedy. He'll just clear it. And it hit Daigneault. Round it'll come now for Bodger. Kennedy is bumped into the boards by Sprudland, and that's the end of the second period. And the Canadians will take a 2-1 lead into the second intermission here at the Forum at Montreal. 22 shots for Montreal and 15 for the Buffalo Sabres. So it's Montreal 2, Buffalo 1. Well, the Buffalo Sabres now go into the third period of tonight's game, and they're down to Bike by a score of 2-1. And here's something that they're going to have to try and score early.
Well, I think the defense for Buffalo better be active and really move up and put some pressure on the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, it's not working just with 3 forwards. The defense has to move up and be part of that attack. And it seems like when they do play that well, that way, Buffalo becomes a very potent, or at least a fairly potent hockey club offensively.
I think you're going to see Housley going up the ice an awful lot.
Well, I think he better, because it has not been all that noticeable the whole series. When you take that away from his game, you're taking away an awful lot. So they need his offensive authority right now.
Okay, let's get to the third period with the Canadians leading 2-1. 1 goal in that second period. Gilchrist from Corson and Schneider at the 16:22 mark. Loose puck at center. It was hit above the shoulder with the stick. Now they'll have a face-off. It's Turgeon, Andrechuk, and 5. Hartford had taken a 2-0 lead. Now the Bruins come back with a goal from Poulin, and it's 2-1 to Hartford in the second period. Now Wells. It'll come to center, taken by Courtnall. He quickly gets it back into the Buffalo zone. Puppa leaving it for Housley, watched by McPhee. Now the pass for Turgeon at the Buffalo line. He is stopped there by Carbonneau. He cleared it back in. Courtnall going in against Wells. Puppa plays it around the boards. Housley gets it back and gives it to Wells. Now Andrechuk. Here's the long pass for Housley at center into the Montreal. Oh, he left it there for Turgeon, but it's intercepted by Carbonneau, and he cleared it in now, and Bodger goes back after it. Andrechuk. He cleared it to center. Swoboda, watched by Turgeon. Dropped to the back, gives it to Daigneault. Swoboda. Here's the pass to Courtnall. He'll clear it to the Buffalo line. Kennedy, and now Montreal will make a player change. Andrechuk steps in over the line. He left it there now for Kennedy. There's the drive, and Patrick Waugh got the stick on that one, and there's going to be a penalty coming to the Montreal Canadiens. And Buffalo will go to the power play. It'll only be their second power play of the game.
Dufresne in front of the net. Number 34, you can just catch his head right here. Watch, he's tied up with one of the Sabre players. Here goes the pitchfork, a little Indian wrestling, tries to bring him down, and he does. The referee was right behind him, and there you have the culprit.
Here's Housley back at the line, gives it to Bodger. He fakes the shot. Back it comes to Housley. Now to Bodger. A jam in front of Patrick Waugh. There's the drive, the rebound. It went through, and out goes to Foligno into the corner. Here's Foligno. They try to set it up. It's back to Ruutu. Corkum's in front of the net. He's bothering Ludwig, and the loose puck recovered by Gilchrist. He fires it right back into the Buffalo zone. Bodger swings back after it. Turgeon steps onto the ice with 5. Here's Bodger into the Montreal zone. His pass knocked away, loose puck. It comes back to the line, recovered by Housley. Housley giving it now to 5. 5 left it for Turgeon. Turgeon into the corner, and it's swept away by Carbonneau. And it'll come to center. Bodger takes over. Now there's 1:02 left in the Buffalo power play. Bodger giving it to Andrechuk into the Montreal zone. Here's Andrechuk, gets it back to Bodger. Bodger winds up, fakes the shot. There's his drive over to Turgeon. The pass now, Andrechuk is stopped. Comes back in front to the side of the net. Here's Andrechuk trying to work it back. Patrick Waugh got a piece of it, and Housley lost it over the blade of his stick. Now gives it to 5. 5 for Turgeon. It is cleared right back into the Montreal zone. Sabres had a couple of great opportunities there, Mike, a moment ago. Now Housley giving it to Turgeon into the Montreal zone. Stop there. 17 seconds left in the power play. Ramsey comes to center. Steps in over the line. Gets it off the boards, but Lefebvre will clear it back to the Buffalo blue line. Housley. 16:44 left in the third period. 2-1 Montreal leading. Now the Canadians are back at full strength. Ramsey fires that one in off the glass. Here goes Shannon. Shannon now behind the net. Into the corner. He's watched by Daigneault. One hands it back to Ramsey. Back into Snuggerud. Snuggerud gets it behind the net to Andrechuk. They try to work it in front. Andrechuk gets all tied up. And Dufresne. He'll bring it back to center. He clears it in. Snuggerud goes back to touch it, and Montreal is called for icing.
Like fish out of water, Bodger holds on to the puck. 2 of the Habs drop down. Smart move by Bodger. Gets the puck through. Then the action begins for Buffalo, but they can't bury it. It was there. Waugh was right down, but they couldn't get it up to beat him.
Face off of the Montreal zone. Benoit Hogue wins the draw. Krupp lost it, but he manages to keep it in. It's back in behind the net. Here's Hartman now getting it out in front of the net, and Smith takes over. Now Hogue gets it back for Mogilny. Swoboda. Mogilny puts it back right onto the stick of Richer. Here's Richer with the pass to Corson into the Buffalo zone. He overskated the puck. Now Smith gives it to Corson with the quick shot. Puppa deflects that one into the corner. Krupp gets it back over the line. Ludwig. Now Ludwig tipped it back in. Here's Puppa coming way into the net to play it around now for Mogilny. Now Richer. And the fans are yelling Richer, Richer, and Swoboda gets it back in now for Daigneault. Here's the pass to Corson into the Buffalo zone. Here's Smith. There goes Lemieux towards the net, but Puppa knocked it away. Now it comes back to Corson. Back to Lemieux. The drive. He scores! Claude Lemieux! And the Canadians take a 3-1 lead. And this is going to be tough for Buffalo to come back in this one with 15-13 to go.
Arneal loses his stick right here. He'll go fetch his stick in the corner. Now watch what happens while he's picking up his stick. You see that, man? He would have had him covered. He had to grab his stick. He was in the defensive zone. He thought that was his opportunity. He left it wide open for Lemieux to come back and take the shot. Bodger just a little slow picking up Lemieux, and Lemieux certainly likes it. And there you look at the goal scorer right there. In a game like this, Ted, you're absolutely right. It's almost impossible to overcome 2 goals at this point. Can be done, but it's going to be awful tough.
And the Canadians take a 3-1 lead with 15-13 remaining. Well, we'll see whether or not the Sabres more than likely will try to gamble as much as possible Lemieux from Corson and Smith at the 4:47 mark. Now Kennedy. Now giving it to Corkum at center. He sends it in off the corner boards into the Montreal zone. Schneider in behind the net. He'll tip it. Back into the Buffalo zone. Bodger going back to retrieve it. Now comes to Kennedy. Gets it back to Bodger. Up it comes to Shannon. He'll clear it into the Montreal zone. Lefebvre going in behind the net. Down to the come to Lemieux. Back it comes to Housley. There's a quick shot. It's blocked. Taken by Ruutu. Ruutu, the pass in front. And Patrick Waugh made the save. And there's going to be a penalty coming up here to the Montreal Canadiens. Will be a cross-checking call.
Schneider gets a call. Buffalo will go on their second power play in a row, and right there the timing is just about there, but Waugh just really came up with a beautiful little bit of stick work, and you could see the man being hammered. It might have been Shannon right at the last moment. Watch the guy right over there get hammered now, and that's Schneider, and he's been doing a lot of cross-checking from behind in this series. They catch him on that account.
Buffalo going to the power play. They're 1 for 2 with the face-off of the Montreal zone. The Canadiens lead 3-1. By Andreychuk and Turgeon. It comes back to Housley. He gives it to Bodger. The shot whistled that one wide. Housley now. He sends it to the side of the net, and Vive missed it. Now Turgeon. Here's Vive, and he tried to tip it out to Andreychuk. It comes back now. Bodger quickly gets it to Housley. Into the corner for Andreychuk. He missed the puck. Dufresne. Now Vive is there. It'll come back. Turgeon goes after it. Loose puck in behind the net. Ludwig. He just fired that one right over the glass into the crowd.
Boy, they're losing those one-on-one battles. Yeah, I don't think there's a time this evening through this whole game where Turgeon has won a one-on-one battle where they've had to scrap after the puck in the corner. And I mean, it's so imperative at this point to really let it all out. We're talking about being down 2 goals here with 14 minutes left in the game in the third period. They had the power play on, second power play in succession.
Washington has a 3-2 lead over the New Jersey Devils. Leach, Corknell, and Bruce for Washington, McLean and Stastny for the Devils. Andreychuk and Carbonneau. Andreychuk is told to leave the face-off area, and Turgeon will step in. Turgeon trying to get it back. It comes to Bodger. Here's Bodger now for Andreychuk. Gives it to Bodger. Goes to Housley. There's Andreychuk with the shot. It's blocked. Another drive. He scores! Andreychuk! The Sabres are back in this one. It's a 3-2 score. Buffalo gets his second power play of the game.
I don't know if Waugh even noticed the shot. Watch it go back to the point. The setup is wide, then the cross ice. He has trouble with it. He fumbles a little bit. Then he drives the puck. And looking like Waugh kind of fanned on it once the shot was taken. Right there. He was out. He had the glove cocked and ready to go. But no cigar. It just goes right by it, probably by a half a foot. Andreychuk really caught in a bad angle. He was under duress. Watch how the puck comes right back to him. He had a man all over him. That's Carbonneau. And still he fires it right into the net for the second goal of the game. Still plenty of work left in front of Buffalo. You know, Ted, if there's one player, supposedly like the big guns on this team, the big offensive guns that's produced tonight, certainly Andreychuk's been one of them.
Here's Poe coming in. It comes back over the Montreal line. Andreychuk from Housley and Bodger at the 6:07 mark. A power play goal. They're 2 for 3, and here comes Swoboda with the long shot. Pupa deflects that one into the corner. Skrugland now back in behind the net. Corson comes right back in front, tipped away. Richer bumps into Snuggerud. Richer keeping it in. Now Shannon will go after the loose puck. He flipped it into the corner. Now taken by Snuggerud, and he lost it. Here's Skrugland with it in the corner. Skrugland sends it back in behind the net. Snuggerud clears it to the corners. Sprudlin gets it back in. Here's Ramsey all tied up with Corson, and he gloved it back in behind the net. It's taken by Pupa. Around it'll come to Shannon. Third it to center, knocked down by Arneal. Steps to the line, flipped it in, a bouncing puck, and Patrick Waugh had trouble with that. Shannon worked it back in behind the net. Swoboda kept it off the boards. Comes to Corson, left it for Lemieux. Lemieux gets in over the line, lets the shot go, but it went off the stick of Wells and way up into the crowd.
Sabres with control of the puck right here. They waltz over the blue line. That's Arneal, and he dumps it in towards the goal, looking for a couple of his teammates. Get in there and hunt around for a rebound.
Now Wells in behind the net quickly for Foligno at center. Dufresne. He clears it back in. Wells waiting for it. Watched by Smith. Up it comes now to Snuggerud, but it's kept in. Here's Smith with it. Lets the shot go. Pupa makes the save. The rebound. Lemieux went after it. Comes back now to the blue line. Here's Daigneault. Now Hogue attempts to clear it. It'll come back to center. Dufresne working it to Lemieux. His long drive to Pupa. At the left pad on that one. Knocks it into the corner. Ryan Walter. It'll come now to Hartman. He just tipped it on into the Montreal zone. Daigneault with Hartman after him in behind the net. Foligno. He'll send it back. Recovered by Kennedy. Kennedy shoots it back into the Canadian zone. Buffalo makes a change. Andrechuk steps on. Here's Dufresne giving it now to Corson. His pass onto the stick of Hogue, and he sends it off a glove. Here's Andrechuk, and he has stopped both teams making changes. It'll come back for Kennedy. Slides it to Bodger. Bodger gets it through to Andrechuk, backhanding it into the Montreal zone. A glove down by Swoboda. Here come the Canadians. Off the corner boards. Here's Courtnall. He scores! Courtnall! Courtnall gets his second goal of the playoffs. It came off the corner boards, and he just... I've never seen a guy with such speed, Mike.
Solid jets. Watch right here. They'll shoot it in deep. It's a very simple shoot in by Carbonneau. And Courtnall with the jump really puts the afterburners off on, and he catches up to the rebound before Pupa can get over and control it. The legs are wide open, and he really didn't get much on the puck, but it went in the right spot. That's a devastating goal.
With 11 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the third period.
The one thing Buffalo can't afford to do is get down in the mouth. They haven't got any choice. The bottom line is win now.
Carbonneau picks up the assist at the 8:48 mark. They come back into the Buffalo zone. Again, Keane. He is knocked down. Now taken by Arneal. Tried to work it up for Ruutu. Now it's cleared back into the Buffalo zone. The Canadians have a 4-2 lead in the third period. Now Snuggerud brings it to center. Clears it into the Canadian zone. Ludwig with Andrechuk into forecheck. Comes around to Ryan Walter. Turgeon cleared it back in. Now recovered by Schneider. Taken by Ramsey at the Buffalo blue line, giving it to Krupp. Now the pass through to Andrechuk. Andrechuk got to get it back, and Ryan Walter is there to intercept. And it's deflected into the Montreal bench area on the far side.
NBA action. It's fantastic.
Yo, Hulkamaniacs! Coming to Eurosport, WWF Primetime Wrestling on Friday nights.
You look at the head coaches, Rick Dudley on your left, Pat Burns on the right, and one of them will walk out of here a winner tonight.
Face-off will be over the Montreal blue line. 10 minutes, 18 seconds remaining.
That's not all that bad a time for Buffalo to make a big move here. With Montreal going up 2 goals, they might just relax a little bit and figure the game's over.
8:48, the time of the goal by Courtnall from Carbonneau and Swoboda. Now Dufresne. It'll come back into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey going back after it, watched by Gilchrist. Now gives it to Krupp. He'll send it, intercepted by Courtnall. Courtnall's pass now to Keane. Here's Keane. He tried to clear it in. Corkum goes after it. He'll skate in behind the Buffalo net. Courtnall after him. Here's Keane. Corkum. Knock Keane down. Corkum will go to the corner. Turgeon's in front. Come to the side of the net. And the Canadians clear it. Here goes Courtnall after the puck. No icing. Ramsey will take over. 9:33 to go. Ramsey steps to center. That's the long drive, and Patrick Wall leaves it for Swoboda. McPhee at his own blue line. Here they come again. Courtnall with Carbonneau. Here's the shot. It hit Wells. A backhander in behind the net. Carbonneau. Lost it to Housley. Housley steps back over the blue line. Still in control. Brings it into the Montreal zone. Here's Housley with the shot. Patrick Waugh makes the save, but he gloves it to the goal crease.
Jay Wells can hardly make it over to the bench. I don't know if they can get him back on before this game is over. He was really on the limp. Very possibly caught it in a bad ankle. And I think at this point, you might be thinking about using your offensive defenseman as much as possible anyways. Housley cuts wide and takes a shot from maybe out about 35 feet. Waugh making the save, covering up.
27 shots for Montreal, 21 for Buffalo.
And 9:03 remaining in this third period. Well, Montreal don't have to change much, Ted. They just continue on the way they're playing here and use the boards, play it safe, don't take any chances. And Buffalo, they just can't miss on their opportunities. They're bound to get 3 or 4 shots before this game is over, and they just have to make sure they bury them.
Now Benoit Hogue and Strudlin. Here's Swoboda. Corson. Here's the pass. Back into the Buffalo zone. And Hartman missed it. Recovered by Schneider. Gets it back to Swoboda. Now Strudlin. He steps to the line. Intercepted by Foligno. He'll give it to Housley. Housley's pass for Hartman. He missed it. Slides into the Montreal zone. Schneider in to tuck it. And Buffalo was called for icing. And then Hartman put one of the Canadians into the corner board. Now Corson having some words there with Bodger.
Wants to get his team fired up. Kick up some dust here. Get them riled.
Now Bodger pushing with Swoboda.
And Happy Hartman is playing a little more tonight. He's a winner.
8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining.
Here we go right here. Watch Hartman. He'll take a run at Schneider, get a small piece of him. See if he can upset a few of the Montreal Canadiens, get them off their game a little bit. Now he's looking around. He finds Schneider again. Schneider just stick his face in there and try to draw him into a penalty. He just about did.
Face off of the Buffalo zone. Carbonneau. Now Ramsey. Round it'll go to Turgeon. Turgeon's pass intercepted by Courtnall. He gloved it in over the line. Ramsey steps away from Courtnall. Now brings it to center. Winds up. Works that one off the boards. Here's Turgeon. He took a whack at it and he missed it. Now Courtnall. Bouncing puck inside the line. Comes back to Krupp. Krupp is there. Backhanding it in behind the Montreal net. Now Dufresne. It's gloved down. Gloved ahead. With 7:58 left in the third.
I'll bet you Courtnall, there you're looking at Russ Courtnall right there. I'll bet you he's been hit 15 times tonight solid. He has to feel more like a piñata at this point than a hockey player because they've hammered away on him all night long. Once again, Courtnall will get hammered. He'll catch a knee this time right in the side of the head. 7:58 remaining in this third period. Buffalo being outshot 27-21. There's no tomorrow right now for Buffalo. Just let it all out offensively.
Now Ramsey flipping it behind the Montreal net. Swoboda. He tried to clear it. Now taken by Arneal. He tried to get it back in. It's out of the stick of Snuggerud. Snuggerud and behind the net there goes Ruutu. Ruutu sends it in front. It's blocked. It'll come now to Ryan Walter. He stopped over the line and Krupp sends it back in. Swoboda. Ludwig couldn't clear it. Now Snuggerud. Here's Ruutu. Ruutu gives it to Ramsey. It went off his skate. Up it comes to Ryan Walter. 7:22 left. Lemieux. Now Krupp will take over for Buffalo. His pass to Arneal. He'll tip it into the Canadian zone. Dufresne. Buffalo makes a change. Hartman steps on with Benoit Hogue. Smith at center. He'll clear it in and decides to go to the bench along with Ryan Walter. Wells is back on. Gives it to Foligno. Housley. Here's the pass to Foligno. Into the Montreal zone. Benoit Hogue will go to the corner. Here's Hogue now trying to bring it out in front. Ran into the net. Here's Gilchrist around Housley waiting for it. He cleared it back. Gilchrist bumped by Hartman. Hartman sends it back in. Here's Foligno. Foligno trying to work it in front of the net. He's stopped by Dufresne. Now Hartman a loose puck in front and Keane will take over for Montreal. Ahead to Corson at center. They come in over the Buffalo blue line. They clear it in. Here comes Keane in after it. Now taken by Gilchrist. He's got Corson in front. Gave it to Keane. Now Housley. Now Keane and Housley get tied up in the corner. Housley comes away with it with 6 minutes remaining here in the third. Foligno. Trying to give it to Wells. It'll come back to the Buffalo blue line. Housley. Now for Turgeon. Goes to McPhee. Cleared into the Buffalo zone. Housley back after it. Now the quick pass for Andrechuk. Steps away from one, gives it to Vive. Vive into the Montreal zone. Vive racing towards the net. And he is taken down. Here's Andrechuk. It'll come back now to Bodger. Bodger worked it back in behind the net. Here's Andrechuk, knocks it down, puts it to the goal crease. They jam at it. And Patrick Waugh got the right pad on it.
Boy, Waugh has been solid. He has been solid. They've been in there quite a few times, especially in close, and he's been right on top of that puck, not leaving much for anyone to pick up. Certainly no garbage, that's for sure. Here's Vive, who has just been outstanding in this series. I think he's been the best player on this hockey club throughout the whole series, and he's brought down to the ice, spun around into the goal. And a second opportunity. Once again, this time the shot is taken by Andrechuk, and Vive is sticking his nose right in front of the net, digging all the time, looking for something. He didn't find anything except a cross-check in the back of the neck.
5:25 remaining in the third period. Canadians with a 4-2 lead, and that was a big goal by Courtnall as he raced down the left side and took it from the corner boards. And there you see Hartford leading Boston 2-1 in the third. Washington leading New Jersey 3-2. Here's Arneal going into the corner. He sends it around. Ramsey comes up on the play. Flipped it back in behind the net. Dufresne. Ramsey. Now Skrudlin. Trying to get away from Ruutu. It'll come to Corson. Bodger goes to the corner. Round waiting for it is Ramsey. Ramsey. He was tripped up. Richer. Bodger goes after him. Takes Richer to the board. That allows Ramsey to come back. 4:50 left. Here's the pass. But it's missed by Arneal. The puck comes back into the Montreal zone. Swoboda. He tried to give it to Corson. It goes wide, and Pupa leaving it now for Housley. 4:35 remaining in the third. Housley comes to center. Slapped it off the boards into the Canadian zone. Hopped over the blade of Patrick Waugh's stick. It's knocked out. Recovered by Foligno. Now here's Hartman. He is jammed to the boards by Ludwig. Foligno moves in. Knocks Ludwig down. Foligno kicking at it, taken by Hartman. Hartman in the corner. tried to leave it there. Foligno's trying to get away from Ludwig. Now he wraps his arms around Swoboda. Foligno, he's playing without a stick.
I'm surprised he wasn't called. He wrapped both arms right around Swoboda and just hog-tied him and threw him down to the ice. It's a pretty good break right there by the referee, and you can see Pat Burns, he had good reason to. Let's have a look at it right here. Now watch, no stick, for one hand, two arms wrapped right around Swoboda here and just throws him down to the ice. And that's a good break for Buffalo. They want to take advantage of it.
4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining. And the Canadians with a 2-goal lead.
Hard to believe, isn't it? All the games we've done this year and the players have played, and it comes down to 4 minutes and 2 seconds. It's kind of a sickening feeling, I think, for the players, but they can't give up hope right now. Really concentrate, be ready for the final 2 or 3 shifts.
Now back to Krupp. Krupp giving it, there's a quick drive, and Patrick Waugh makes the save on Housley, and Waugh had plenty of room seeing that one coming through from the right point.
Wasn't the best shot selection, certainly, in the world, but Waugh looking at the shot all the way. Watch Richer right here, number 44, and Doug Bodger. I mean, this Richer is as strong as a horse. No one realizes just how strong he is. He's pretty big. You can see them working each other over a little bit in behind the net. You hit him and he just rolls off the hits. Hard to hit him smack dab center.
3:57 now remaining. Turgeon and Skrudland. Dufresne. He clears it to center. Housley will take it. Gives it back now to Vive. Here's Vive clearing it off the glass. Andrechuk trying to work it in front of the net, but he was stopped, and Carbonneau. Vive is there. It's gloved down. Comes over the line. Carbonneau giving it to McPhee. He'll step to the Buffalo blue line against Housley. Now comes back in behind the net to Courtnall. Giving it to Carbonneau. Here's Carbonneau with the shot. Hit the crossbar. That one hit the crossbar. Here's Andrechuk. He'll come back at center. Steps it over the Montreal line. A loose puck in front. Comes back to Housley. The shot, and it hit Carbonneau. Now the Canadians had thought that puck had gone in, but I believe it hit the crossbar. Pat Burns, he's waving his eyes. The goal judge is saying no, it did not go in.
Richer wants it. Burns wants it. They're not going to get it. Well, they need it. Let's have a look at it. See Carbonneau right here, one of the best checkers in the game. It's a quick snapshot. First of all, it shouldn't even got through. I don't know. That's still hard to call.
It was kind of difficult.
One more time. Keep an eye. I think it caught underneath the crossbar and came right back out. Canadians are checking ferociously right now. It's just like playing against a team of roto-rooters.
Face-off will be in the Canadian zone. 3 minutes, 12 seconds left in the third.
Here's a Buffalo opportunity. You can see he takes his drive and just shoots it right into Carbonneau, and 3 men standing in front of him when the shot was taken.
On the draw, here's Arneal. Now Ruutu and Schneider. He'll clear it right back into the Buffalo zone. Bodger going back after. There's no icing. Smith chasing Bodger. Housley. Now the pass to Arneal at center. He clears it in off the corner boards into the Montreal zone. Swoboda being chased by Ruutu. Loose puck in there. 3, 4 of them go after it. Taken by Arneal. He cleared it back in now to Ruutu. It'll come back. Nobody there at the right point. Housley had moved in. 2:35 to go. Now comes back in. Schneider takes over. It'll come around. Bodger trying to keep it in. They could get a 2-on-1 break. Here comes Smith and Lemieux. Smith gets in, gets it back to Lemieux. And he tried to work it back. Now Daigneault with the shot, and Puppa makes the save. He cleared it. Here's Brian Walter. Gets it back. Smith with the shot. It's deflected. Puppa reached out to grab it. And he holds on. With 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
With Buffalo down 2 goals, head coach Rick Dudley, they have to consider pulling Pupa a little bit earlier than they'd normally pull him.
Well, Boston has come back to tie Hartford at 2-2. Burridge getting his second of the series after Hartford had taken a 2-0 lead. Then Poulin and Burridge coming back to tie it at 2.
You know, Ted, when I think of this whole series, I really have to pay tribute to the defense of the Montreal Canadiens and a lot of these young hockey players like Snyder and Dufresne who kind of hoping if they crack a little bit under playoff pressure. And actually what they've done is come alive under playoff pressure. And it's kind of worked in reverse in some of the Buffalo players where they played so well during the season and certain individuals just didn't respond to playoff hockey.
Washington has defeated New Jersey by 3-2, and they win that series 4 games to 2. Now Ramsey sends it the length of the ice. It goes right on to Patrick Waugh. He decides to glove it with Benoit Hogue trying to get in there to get to the rebound. 2 minutes remaining here in the third.
That's a good place to start for Buffalo. Deep in Montreal's zone, they'll have a chance to set up here for a shot on goal. I think they're going to pull Pupa right now. Down 2 goals, they might as well go that way. You never know when you're going to get back in there. They have the puck where they want it right now. Wise move by the coaching staff. Get them off while you can. You're going to do it, do it.
28 shots for Montreal, 23 for Buffalo.
Waugh was spectacular tonight.
It'll be Turgeon, Andrechuk, Arneal, Bodger, Vive, and Housley. The Buffalo net is wide open with 6 skaters for Buffalo inside the Montreal blue line. 4-2, Montreal leading. It'll come back to Housley. Here's Bodger shooting, and he hit the goal post. Back into Vive. Vive gets it behind the net now. It comes out in front, a loose puck.
The referee's still looking for the puck. He hasn't found it yet. It's over in the corner.
It had hopped. It came from the back of the net, bounced in front of the net, and then it went into the corner board.
Referee thought it was dead. That's the action in behind the net. Come right around, eventually it'll come around to Turgeon. Now that's where Turgeon wants to be, but he gets hustled very quickly. Not by 1, 2 of the Montreal Canadiens, and the second guy pulled out to go to the front of the net, and everything collapsed. Strong play right there by the Canadiens. They didn't wait, they didn't give Turgeon any time to set up.
1:49 now left in the third. Buffalo net wide open with 6 skaters for Buffalo inside the Montreal blue line. Turgeon, Strudlin, Turgeon kicks it back. Here's Bodger. Here's Vive with a drive, and he shot that one wide. It'll come back now to Bodger. Sends it back in behind the net. Strudlin comes up with it. He gives it to McPhee. It's gloved down by Housley. Has to wait for his teammates to come onside. Now shoots it back in. Comes off the boards at a crazy angle. McPhee, he will clear it. Goes right back into the Buffalo zone. Carbonneau, he has an open net. Now there's 1:24 remaining. Andrechuk starts to bring it back. Gives it to Housley. At center with 1:19. He sends it in off the boards into the Montreal zone. Swoboda. Here's Housley in after it. Housley into the corner. It'll come back to Bodger. Gets it back in front. Here's a backhand drive. Here's Turgeon behind the net. Now Arneal. And the puck is cleared off the boards, and Courtnall's got an open net. Here's Courtnall. He scores! That'll do it. The Montreal Canadiens with a 5-2 lead, and they'll win the best-of-7 semifinal series 4-2. And listen to the crowd here at the Forum.
Just desperate. Montreal finding a loose puck. It goes out on the speed of Courtnall. You had a look at the speed of Courtnall before. You had another look at it right there. There's no catching him.
Only 52 seconds remaining. The Buffalo Sabres and the Canadiens going into this series looked like they had a pretty good chance. But the Canadiens coming up big, and especially with the great goaltending of Patrick Waugh, with the best save percentage in the National Hockey League. 29 seconds remaining. Now this game, this series will not go back to Buffalo for Game 7 on Tuesday night with 27 seconds to go. And the Bruins and the Raiders, they are tied at 2 in Hartford. Not a very happy Buffalo bench.
No, you really feel like you lost your best friend.
Now Snuggerud. Here's Frutu with 19 seconds to go. I wouldn't count on the, I can see the Canadiens winning this Adams division.
Oh.
They play against Boston or Hartford. 5 seconds to go, that's it. The Montreal Canadiens have defeated the Buffalo Sabres by 5-2 in a very dejected Buffalo Sabres hockey club. They lose the best-of-7 semifinal. The Adams division, 4 games to 2. 29 shots for Montreal, 24 for Buffalo. In the third period, Montreal had 7, Buffalo had 9. Now they're going to go through and shake hands. Carbonneau. Now they're shaking hands at center ice. And it's amazing going into this game tonight when you look back, Mike. It's the regular season and the playoffs. The Canadiens, the Sabres had won 6. Montreal had won 6. They played to a tie.
I really thought Buffalo, I did expect them to win this series, and well, obviously I was wrong, but I thought this was a season they could really put it together, and especially a year when Calgary's out of it, Ted. This Stanley Cup is more wide open than I can ever remember the Stanley Cup being, and I really think the Montreal Canadiens have as good a shot as anyone to go to the finals and even win it. And I guess maybe that's what's going to hurt the players more than anything else, is when you have to sit back, maybe watch a team that you really feel you can beat, go on and maybe go to the finals, and that could have been them.
Well, Chris Chelios, he's going to be back into the lineup probably in the next week or so, and that's going to help Montreal defensively. Not a very happy Buffalo Sabres hockey club as they make their way to the dressing room here at the Forum.
Coming up to join the play is Benning. Gretzky gets them over the line, shoots one that's just wide. The puck ends up over on the left wing boards and is cleared up by Craig McTavish. 2 Oilers collided heavily back in the Edmonton zone. Muni is loading it up. Here's Robitaille, centers, the drive is just wide off Chris Sheldeski's stick. Lowe turns it over to Gretzky. Comes in front of the net, finds the man Robinson, and he shot it wide. Now Gretzky with a drive that's blocked in the goal mouth. Lowe covers it. The Kings can't dig it out from under the defenseman. Long time, the puck still in play. No whistle, it's banged right on, and Ranford is able to make the save. There'll be some complaints put up here, but a very tired and hurting Craig Muni is just now slumped to the ice. And they're calling for the trainer, Ken Lowe, to attend to the veteran Edmonton defenseman. Unable to control the puck. Down the right side is Mike Krushelnyski. Anderson bothering him all the way down the ice. Krushelnyski centered it off Kasper's stick. And Glenn Anderson moves it off the right side, off Klima, as a matter of fact. This is Granato. Spins it back inside the Edmonton zone. Steve Smith back. Gretzky forechecking, forcing Smith to play it to the line. It's held in. Sandstrom to Gretzky. Looks toward Granato. Gretzky can't do it by himself as Steve Smith got a chunk of them. Now Tikkanen just dumps it off the boards at center. That's going to go the length of the ice. We'll get a whistle against Edmonton. Now waved off at the final second. Tony Granato gets out of the zone. Gets away from the check, too. Comes over the line, shoots one wide of Ranford. Charlie Huddy trying to move it up the boards. The Kings pinch in, but the puck comes out to center. It's 2-on-2 as Graves carries it down the right side. Joined now by Tikkanen, and Graves shot it well wide of the net. Robinson cruises to the right side. Feeds it up to Thomas Sandstrom, who has the game's only goal. Sandstrom dumped it in. Kevin Lowe turns, looks, and tries to dump it out. Penalty being delayed. Now called against the Los Angeles Kings. A late call. Marty McSorley is ticketed, it appears, by referee Andy Van Hellemond, and Edmonton will go to the power play. A little less than 5 minutes to go in the period. Here's the reason for the call on number 33.
You know, Jakes, I think they're both, the referees here are just a little uptight, because remember the last time these two teams played here, it was that sort of long evening, I guess, Jakes, with 86 penalties called, and I think you see the linesmen jumping into the things. They don't want any carryovers. But we didn't see that in game 1 and 2. We just saw, you know, a game that was up and down. It was, you know, good, intelligent physical play, but we didn't see anything like they had last time here in this building.
No, this only the third penalty as Simpson breaks in on the power play and scores. Simpson showing some patience, holding the puck, forcing Scott to make the move, and Edmonton has tied it on a power play goal.
Jakes, that was their first shot on net, and they score a goal on the thing, but what they did was very intelligent, and Craig Simpson, just, this is what you call stretching the zone, and he just button-hooked inside the offensive blue line and got him behind the LA defenseman, and he had enough presence just to make the fake going across Scott, went back to the short side. Nice move there, and Ronnie Scott again got caught flat-footed. When you get us, that's a tough situation. If he's out and moving, then Simpson has the opportunity to go across the net. So that was a nice, intelligent play by Craig Simpson, but a big pass and an intelligent play by Edmonton, and that's what they'll do. They'll stretch the zone. They'll use the width and the depth of the ice, Jakes.
Simpson from Messier and Smith. Yeah, they do that as well. Probably better than most teams, and maybe better than any of the other teams in the league. Curry comes over the blue line. Edmonton has moved the puck so well the first 2 games in this series. You think back to the series against the Winnipeg Jets that went the full 7 games as well. Casper clears the zone, and Randy Gregg will pick it up at the Edmonton blue line. Simpson's goal at 15:26 comes on the power play. Crowder into forecheck, knocked the puck loose, and now it's dumped down the ice and wide of Ron Scott. They'll hold it up for Halkitis as McSorley comes back. Stepping in front of Klima, the puck went to John Tonelli. Ahead for Casper. Oilers get 3 men back. Casper cuts to the right side, centered one. It went off Crowder and just wide of the net. John Tonelli gives it to Crowder. Keith Crowder tied up in the corner is taken down, and there'll be a penalty against the Edmonton Oilers. Los Angeles will get a chance on the power play, their 3rd opportunity in this opening period.
LA's the 3rd chance, Jakes. A nice time for them to break this tie with 3:36 left. They scored that first goal. They are 4-0 when they score first in the playoffs, and 3-0 when they score first at home. So that's a very symbolic goal.
Yeah, it really is. And now this penalty to Curry, also symbolic. The holding penalty takes off the ice one of the better Edmonton penalty killers.
Jake, sometimes when Edmonton, we just take a look at this, and Yari Curry, who is known as, you know, one of the more gentlemanly type of hockey players in the National Hockey League, those penalties are few and far between, but he just got caught up in a little traffic there, and he pulled the guy down. Sometimes, Jigs, when you're not playing well, and all of a sudden you get a power play into your score, and you say, this is going to be easy anyway. Well, it's not.
We'll see what unfolds here now after that shot from Duchesne was blocked, and the Oilers clear the zone. Robinson and Duchesne on the points. Chris Contos is up front along with Sandstrom and Gretzky on this front end of the power play. Robinson puts it on the stick of Contos. Oilers get 3 men back. Contos comes over the line, trying to go through the defense, gets help from Sandstrom. Sandstrom putting it back in the net. McTavish knocked it away from Gretzky. It's held in. This is Duchesne to the corner. Gretzky lets it go round the boards. Chasing it is Contos. But the Oilers are able to pick it up, and Messier sends McTavish to center ice. 1-on-1 with Duchesne. McTavish across the line. Delayed penalty call coming against Los Angeles. Messier was rubbed out at the blue line. It'll be an interference penalty on Larry Robinson. So there goes the Los Angeles power play after only 47 seconds.
One thing that Edmonton will do, they'll go on the attack shorthanded. They scored 22 shorthanded goals this year, so they'll put pressure on that power play team, and they will draw some of those penalties and negate the other team's power play. That's the case right there. And this is one guy that can really put the pressure on. Right behind McT there, Craig McTavish is Mark Messier, and Larry Robinson just pulled him down.
Andy Van Helleman spotting it, so Robinson sits for interference. Called at 17-11. Tommy Webster will send out Duchesne and Benning as his defense combination. He'll have Casper and Ellick up front. They huddle in front of Ron Scott, who's faced only the one shot, that by Simpson. Tied the game at 15-26 the first period. For Edmonton, the forwards are Anderson and Kleba. Anderson winning the draw, feeds it to the blue line. Steve Smith lets it go, just missed. Smith and Ruotsalainen on the points, by the way. Ellick has dumped it back to the net for Duchesne. It's away from one check. Now it's touched by Benning to Casper, plays it up the right side. Ellick takes it off the boards, can't cut it in time. And the Oilers, Steve Smith turns on Ellick. Bumped on the boards, touches the puck on to Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen back to Smith. Pulled up on the forechecking of Ellick. Oilers dump it in, and Benning turns and shoots it out to center ice for Gretzky, waited for it. He gets a step on Ruotsalainen. Gretzky shoots, hits the post. Here's the rebound, and Tonelli's shot is blocked. Gretzky from back of the net to Tonelli. A backhander is blocked. Now a shot from Benning is blocked. Gretzky can't get to it again. Tonelli does. Centers it in front. Benning's shot goes off Ranford, and back comes Klima. Less than 2 minutes to go in the opening period as Klima comes up 2-on-1. Holds it now, shoots, hit the post to the right of the net. Gretzky has been shaken up. He is headed back to the Los Angeles bench, hurting as the Oilers clear the puck into the center ice zone. McSorley gets to it. Plays it down the ice. 1 second remaining in the penalty to Curry. Now he is out of the box. And the Oilers have a man advantage as Messier comes to the Los Angeles line. Got checked. Curry brings it in, but it's offside. Play called with 1 minute and 27 seconds left in the period. Wayne Gretzky, let's check his condition at the Los Angeles bench.
You got to be worried about Wayne Gretzky's back. Jigs, he was out for a long period of time. He's still not at the top of his game. He's just playing through it, which any athlete's going to do in the playoffs. Now, Ruotsalainen, who's got great speed, finally caught Gretzky. Gretzky had good wood on that thing, hit the far post, and Johnny Tonelli, and he's had another good year, keeps on working. He has a couple opportunities. All Edmonton's players now are chasing the puck instead of someone grabbing somebody, and then it'll come back to them. But again, Gretzky was pulled heavily and pushed heavily into the boards by Steve Smith. And again, you'll see that Edmonton is losing sight of their people and just following the puck. And LA had a great flurry there, Jigs.
Yeah, they really did. You think of the goal post, and then the Oilers come right back, hitting the post at the Los Angeles goal. 1 minute and 14 seconds left in the opening period. 1-1 is the score. It's been Sandstrom for the Kings, Simpson for the Oilers. Curry comes to center ice. He's giving it to Charlie Huddy, who dumps it around the boards. Greg waiting for it at the right point. Can't get it to him. Now they do, and he holds it in with a long pass. Out of the reach of Huddy, and it's McSorley dumping it out into center ice. Randy Gregg to Messier to Gregg. Simpson handling it at center ice. Robinson is back on the ice. Here's Simpson. Robinson reached in, took it away from him. Comes in on goal, shoots, he scores! Yeah, you gotta believe the veteran Larry Robinson got his legs going.
Well, he did, Jakes. He had a great chance the first earlier in the power play, and there he just split the defenseman. Nobody picked him up. He split low. He split Steve Smith, and you can't do that. Too many stick checks here by Edmonton. Nobody's grabbing him. And again, just perseverance by the veteran, surefire Hall of Famer. And Billy Ranford had no chance on that.
Robinson unassisted. His second goal of the playoffs at the 19-20 mark of the opening period. Heard hockey people talk so often about last-minute goals. Here's a chance for another one, and he scores! Ellick! They're 11 seconds apart. Robinson and now Ellick.
Well, this is very rewarding for LA because they played a great period. You look at the Edmonton defenseman backing off for that line, allowing LA's forward just to get possession. And again, get Goodwood on it. Billy Ranford stopped it, but it dribbled off his glove into the net. Again, this is a very, very uninspired up in the first 20 minutes by a very good Edmonton Oilers team.
And we have seen a new Los Angeles Kings playoff record established, the fastest 2 goals in the club's history. Robinson at 19:20, Ellick at 19:31 of the first period. Bit of a knuckleball. Ranford got a chunk of it, but couldn't hold it. And Todd Ellick scores from Krushelnyski and Steve Duchesne.
Few things certain in the National Hockey League playoff, Jakes, that you're not going far when you don't have goalkeeping, and you're not going far when you don't show up. It's almost like another certainty is a dog chasing a car, Jakes. But you've got to be moving or you're out of it. Those are certainties.
Another from the chapter read today, huh?
Well, it makes
written
sense,
today.
but I don't know who's in this in the dark sweaters, Jakes, but it's not the team we saw in game 1 and 2. And to take nothing away from LA, I don't mean anything because they've showed up, but they played a good game in game 2, Jakes, too, so they were working.
Final second ticks off in the opening period. And what a rally by Los Angeles after Edmonton had come back to tie it. The Kings take a 3-1 lead, and they get the crowd standing and cheering again. On the right, Scott was just out of the net, hammering his heels up against the boards, the Dashers here. Trying to get those heels lodged back into the skates, I gather, Herb.
Gee, there's a lot of talk when they announced Ronnie Scott was going to play in goal.
Speculation, of course, on Kelly Rudy is that he was injured or suffered a recurring rib injury, making it save or trying to make a save off Curry in game number 2 at Edmonton last Friday night. Here's Casper weaving his way into the Edmonton zone. Centers one off Tonelli's stick. Tonelli drops it back to the point. That's Halkitis with a shot. Tonelli tipped it, but can't get it around Craig Muni. Krushelnyski moving off the boards. He's tripped, and there'll be a penalty against the Edmonton Oilers once they control the puck as they do now. And then a flattening, heavy hit on the Edmonton player may result in another penalty. The Kings had a power play coming their way, but may have just taken themselves right out of it. Jelena had a penalty coming, and then McSorley takes the Kings out of the power play situation. Bill Ranford has faced 14 shots here tonight. The Oilers trail 3-1.
Well, LA is going to have to do the same thing. Just keep that pace up there. And again, I go back to game number 2. That game, as it turned out, it was not a 6-1 game. 2-1 with 8 minutes left. I thought LA deserved, you know, a little better fate.
Wow, right from the face-off, Ranford tested. You don't often see Messier lose a draw in the defensive zone like that, Herb.
Well, that's right, Jakes. Good point. But I think Alec fooled everybody. He says, I'm going right to the net. And if it wasn't for an alert Billy Ranford, that might have had eyes. And that will happen sometimes. Not too many people are just going to take the shot right in net and then have it crash. Sometimes they'll take the other 2 forwards and put them towards the net, and everybody goes in that in a situation like that.
The Oilers finally shake the forechecking of the Kings here and come to center. Messier with a pass to Anderson. Breaks through the defense, and the puck just went wide of Scott. Taken and holds it at the side of the net. Got it to Messier. He's wrapped up. Chased back of the goal by Robinson. Anderson in for the puck. Brings it along the boards and is giving it to Rutsalainen on the backhand. His shot goes off Krushelnyski. Robinson frees it up. Can't clear the zone. Now Anderson fails to handle it. Has to come hustling back into the center ice zone. The Oilers in the middle of a player change. So Steve Duchesne gets an opportunity to move it out to Robitaille. Can't get around Rutsalainen. Now the Kings moving up ahead. Here's Gretzky off left wing. Pulls up on Lamb. Gretzky trying to get away from Lamb. Makes the play to Steve Duchesne. He shoots. That's blocked by Ranford. Curry handles the rebound but fails to clear the zone. Duchesne into Gretzky. Back to Duchesne. King set up for that shot from the point. It goes back to the net to Gretzky. Can't center it. Curry feeds one around the boards finally to Lamb. Mark Lamb. Good pass off Curry's stick. He recovers. Duchesne can't slow him up. Curry off right wing center. Simpson shoots and scores. Greg Simpson from Curry, and the Oilers are right back into it.
Well, that's one of the things that Edmonton does very well, and that's win that race to the red line. Get the puck up ice quickly as possible. And they did it there. Move it up ice. Nice little depth pass there. Now the second pass is going to be important because Curry's got good wheels now, and Duchesne got just caught flat-footed a little bit. He could not pivot and go with him. He elected to try to hold, and now the situation is Simpson just waited until he got that perfect pass and one-timed it. However, the LA defenseman, the lone defenseman right there, he should have let Ronnie Scott have Curry and take the pass away. And now all of a sudden, bang, Ronnie Scott has no chance in that situation, nor would very few goalies.
Scott had no chance on Simpson's first goal, a power play goal to tie it in the first period, and now this one brings Edmonton to within one of the tie. Simpson from Curry at 5:34. Mark Lamb had the other assist. Oilers back in the Los Angeles zone once more. Puck comes out of the corner, held in. They can't get the man open in front, however, as Graves couldn't finish off the pass to Simpson. Crowder comes over the blue line. Crowder hanging around behind the net. There's Murphy. Casper in forechecking. Crowder comes in as well. Tonelli over on the far side of the ice. All three Kings forwards tight on the far boards. And now finally Crowder peels off as the puck is brought back in by Tonelli. Trying to get around Gregg. He's knocked down. Play allowed to continue, but the Kings bring it back in offside. Clock stopped with 13:43 remaining. Recognize the man in the front row seat. That's Stephen Stills. Memories of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Great harmony. 13:34. The Oilers trying to get their harmony back together. Chemistry, it's called in the National Hockey League, but the cross-ice pass to McTavish is broken up. Here's number 99, Wayne Gretzky. Neat little pass to Sandstrom. He's surrounded by Oilers. Plays it to the open wing, and Gretzky had been held up by McTavish. Sandstrom was knocked down in the play as well. So hustling back into his zone is Steve Duchesne, and the feet knocked out from under him. Klima with a shot, he scores! It's all tied, 3-3.
Again, Jakes, this is not a situation where Edmonton is playing so well or doing so many intelligent things, as a matter that LA is now sort of self-destructed inside their defensive blue line. In this situation, again, Klima, he's had all the time in the world. Tripped somebody up, he said, wait a minute, it's not me, but nobody picks him up now. And he's got all the time, and this guy can shoot a puck. Ronnie Scott came out as best as he could, but that thing just was a ice hugger, short side. But Edmonton, or excuse me, LA started chasing the puck. And again, they just got a little disjointed in their defensive zone. So now all of a sudden it's a 3-3 game. You might say, boys, Edmonton come back. Not necessarily so.
Tikkanen's been some story. The job he did on Wayne Gretzky in the first two games at Edmonton. And the Kings haven't done a great deal to keep Gretzky and Tikkanen apart. Gretzky just skated by the face-off area, said something. You look at Craig Muni, took some stitches. It's above the left eye there. There's a collision in the first period with a teammate.
When you talk about the ticket, and everybody's talking about the great defensive job he has done in Gretzky, but if you all of a sudden you look at Edmonton's stats, he's leading this hockey club in the playoffs with 12 points in 9 games.
3 goals in this series, 2 in the first game, another in the second. Sorley dumps the puck in. Manfred leaves it for Lowe. Messier takes it from back of the net, fed it to the right side. Anderson got checked. Lowe with it again. To Glenn Anderson. Long pass, picked off by Messier there on the right side. Messier trying to center one. Anderson gets it on the backhand. It was knocked away by Halkitis. To John Tonelli, right side. Neat pass as it turns out for Crowder. He's given it to Gretzky. Gretzky behind the back pass. In after it is Steve Duchesne. Pulled it away from Simpson. Shoots one that's deflected wide. Muni plays it around the boards. Robinson has come out on the Los Angeles defense now. Takes the puck from Duchesne and gave it right back to him. Steve Duchesne to Granato. One touched it. Gretzky handles it at the blue line, dumping it in a little deeper. Charlie Huddy turns and clears it out to center ice. Here's Robinson. Game 3-3 as Granato feeds it to Sandstrom on the left side. He shoots that missed the net. Comes back to Gretzky. Lets it go to the point for Duchesne. Duchesne in around the boards. Gretzky too well covered. Chasing it back is Anderson. Granato gets knocked down. Crowd not happy. And Messier comes to center ice. Long pass to Tikkanen on left wing. The Messier shoots. That missed the net. The puck bounces off the boards. Came right out in front for Duchesne. Steve Duchesne up the left side, and Granato has tipped it around Ruotsalainen, forcing Smith to go back. Steve Smith to Tikkanen, trying to play it through Gretzky. Gretzky got knocked down. The Oilers come up with the puck. Ruotsalainen down the right side, has fed it to Graves, splits the defense and is taken down. Play allowed to continue. The Oilers right in. Ruotsalainen from back of the net. The net comes off. The referee is pointing to the Edmonton player, saying that the puck was in before the net came off, and the Oilers lead 4-3.
Ruotsalainen had enough presence there to find that he didn't have anything to do on the short side, and he just threw it around, came around a little semi-wrap around and went off somebody's skate, and Ronnie Scott, and the net went all back into the net. Well, this is a great play by Graves as he tried to split the defenseman, but more importantly, he had presence to give it to Ruotsalainen. Scott went down, could not control himself now, and Duchesne's, well, I think that was definitely in jigs, no question. Then he moved it off. But again, what I pointed out early, what allowed Edmonton to get back into this game, first of all, this is a 2-on-1. LA did not handle right. The third goal by Klima, they're all chasing the puck. And this the fourth goal here, again, LA continues to chase the puck in their defensive zone, jigs, as opposed to picking up some people, the people out of sight, out of mind. Then you're going to have a chance to play a little more intelligent defense. Now look at, there's three people there chasing Ruotsalainen around the net. Everybody converged right there. Again, look for other people. One person jump on him. Look up ice. Don't create blind spots in your defense zone. Well, maybe things would happen a little different.
Ruotsalainen gets his second goal of the playoffs. That's 4 goals on those 10 shots by the guests, as you see. And that'll be the end of the night for Ron Scott. Mario Gosselin comes in, the backup goaltender, 26 years of age. 5'8", 165 pounds. He played in 26 games this season. Most of the 3.87 goals against average, 7 wins, 11 losses, and a tie. And the crowd reacting now to the announcement that Gosselin has replaced Ron Scott. Most of us thought that Gosselin would get the starting assignment with Rudy out, suffering a rib injury. Ruotsalainen brings the Kings in with a shot that changed direction a little, but didn't fool Ranford, who got the blocking glove up, and now the Kings have to chase it back. Out comes Gosselin to handle it, and he is met by the forechecking of Jelena. Took a swipe at him. Play is allowed to continue as Robitaille feeds it to Alec. In front to Robitaille. It's loose, and Ruotsalainen jabs it over the crossbar. The puck ends up underneath one of the Oilers. Andy Van Helleman lets the boys play. There has been no whistle. It comes loose under Graves. And finally, the Oilers move it up the boards, only to have it come right back into that pileup. Now it's free at the blue line. Ruotsalainen with a shot that missed the net. The Oilers slap it out of the zone off Duchesne and into the Los Angeles players' bench as well. 6:36 the time remaining in the second period. Check the penalty box here and find Steve Graves off for a holding at 13:24.
Again, LA struggling in that power play, 0 for 3 tonight. That's one of the things that's plagued them in this series.
I believe I said Steve Graves. It's Adam Graves. And the power play has been less than powerful, hasn't it? Credit as well to the Edmonton penalty killing. Otto's moving the puck to Gretzky. Now to Sandstrom, trying to get a step on low. Can't get totally around him. Here's Benning moving in. Benning right in on goal, a backhander, and Ranford makes the save and covers the puck.
Again, sometimes when your power play is struggling, you have to give high marks to the other team's penalty killing. In this situation tonight, Edmonton is not really forcing, and LA is getting some opportunities to score, and they've got to get a couple of these, you know, behind Billy Ranford, and that's what I'm talking about, not forcing right there. Allowed the LA forward just to walk in from the top of the circle again, but Billy Ranford is just, Jinx, I've been so impressed with him. Not so much the fact that he had a shutout and he's done this and that, but he's very composed and he's standing on his feet and he's going down at the right time, letting his athletic ability flow into good solid fundamentals as opposed to being way out of sync.
I remember an interview that I saw with Ron Lowe, their assistant coach, goaltending coach in Edmonton late in March, when he accused this goalkeeper of taking the game home, being just too intense, and really put the pressure on him. Said if he's going to replace Fuhr and do it the way we think he can, that he's got to relax. He can't come to the rink and play that way. Can't come to practice that way. He's got to change his style. What he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Because what he said, there's no such thing as pressure. It's fun. If you prepare yourself, the game itself has got to be fun, and then there's no pressure.
Gretzky trying to get the Kings to smile again to Duchesne. Benning starts in, fed it back. Duchesne lets it go, and it's tipped off Sandstrom. Sandstrom in a battle for it back in the net. The battle won by Gregg as he gave it to McTavish, and here come the Oilers. McTavish laying it behind Charlie Huddy. Picked it up and dumped it down into the Los Angeles zone. Benning rounds the net. A minute remaining in the power play as he gave the puck to Duchesne. Steve Duchesne to John Tonelli. Can't get around Curry at the Edmonton line. 4 Kings back. Curry dumps it in. The Oilers filling it off here with 45 seconds left now in the penalty to Graves. It's Edmonton 4. The Los Angeles Kings 3 as Duchesne feeds it up the left side to Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky fires the puck in deep. Robitaille in after it. Brushelski was there too and got tied up, and the Oilers are able to clear it out. Gosselin comes out of the net, playing it away from the forechecking here. Well, there's just nothing happening on the Los Angeles power play of a positive note at the moment. Can't handle it through center ice. Bad pass. Now it comes back to Duchesne. He's given it to Robitaille for a shot. That put off the defenseman, Greg Muni. Evan Lowe gets tied up with Brushelski. Robitaille digs it out of the corner. 4 seconds left in the power play. Robitaille drops it in deeper. Brushelski centers. Robitaille's shot is blocked by Ranford, and the puck comes out to the man who had just stepped out on the ice. Graves has a breakaway. In on Gosselin. He scores! It is 5-3, favor of the Edmonton Oilers.
What is LA? What are they going to say to themselves to that situation? They had a couple of chances down there. They said, what do we have to do? And all of a sudden, somebody's got to be pounding the stick and saying, watch the clock. Either guys on the bench or the goalkeeper letting the defenseman know that that clock is about up. Now, if they did it, nobody heard him. But Adam Graves just stepped out of the box and he had a low break. He didn't hesitate. Again, he picked that short side somewhat high. Again, nice play. But again, that goalie's back there has got to help out. Now, Gosselin played the thing right. He was back, he was out, went back. Tried the best he could on that breakaway.
Now the Oilers force the Kings back. 40 seconds remaining in the period.
We got a two-man here right now. Edmonton just totally took this crowd out of it.
Yeah, Los Angeles won the first period. Edmonton will win the second. And it's Tom Webster's turn to see if he can't do something to instill some spirit, some spunk into his team for the third period. This might do it. Oh, no, what a save by Ranford as Tonelli is denied. Tonelli in the slot, battling for the puck. It comes out of the corner. Tonelli couldn't get a stick on it in time to do anything, and Tikkanen clears the zone.
You talk about, that's what I mean. Edmonton should never allow that type of shot in the last few seconds of a period.
And the final second ticks off, the horn sounding. And a few boos for the home team from this crowd of over 16,000, a capacity crowd at the Great Western Forum. Big period for Bill Ranford. Earlier this evening, with 9 seconds remaining in the game, the St. Louis Blues, a goal by Gino Cavallini, beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-4, and they take a 2-1 lead in that series. The Blackhawks and the Blues again on Tuesday night to be followed by these same two teams from the same building. Tikkanen with a pass into the center ice zone, a little too far ahead of Curry, and it's cleared out by McSorley. It's Brushelski playing it behind Alec. Rutsalainen gets to it. To Simpson. Simpson closes in with a shot off Gosselin and wide of the net. Alkidis rattles it around the boards. Here's Rutsalainen at the right point. His shot blocked in front and cleared out of there by Alkidis. Out to the left wing side, an Oiler knocked down, and the crowd reacting as Simpson now is back on his skates. And the Kings track it down in their own zone. Here's Halkitis. Gave it to Marty McSorley. Up ahead, Robitaille dumps it in. Brushelski in after it. But it's Messier playing it cross ice to Glenn Anderson. Anderson moving on Duchesne. Plays through him, picks it up, and can't finish it off as Gosselin came out to meet him. Back come the Kings. Robinson with a pass to Robitaille. He's into the Edmonton end. Robitaille puts it in the middle. Robinson couldn't handle it, and here's a breakaway for Glenn Anderson. Coming right in on goal. Shoots. Beaten by Gosselin. Gosselin comes out to play, and as the Kings were very slow coming back. I think they thought there was going to be a whistle. The crowd reacting and saluting Gosselin as he made that save on Anderson, and now Messier dumps it out to center ice.
Jakes, what happened is Glenn Anderson was taken down in the LA defensive zone, and nobody picked him up, and he found himself standing right inside the red line.
You know who's got things stirred up now? Thomas Sandstrom, as Gretzky's shot is blocked by Ranford, and it's cleared out to center ice. Several of the Oilers were taking shots at Sandstrom. He's still out there. When I say taking shots, bumping him, going out of their way to make body contact with him. Sandstrom with the pass here to McSorley, to Sandstrom in front of the net. Sandstrom shoots, that's blocked. Randy Gregg dropped to his knees to block it. It comes to center ice for McSorley. To Benning, to Sandstrom. Can't get around low. The Oilers fail to clear the zone. Benning, collision with Jelena, but the Kings are forced back. Marty McSorley dumps it off the boards. Gretzky picks it up at center ice, plays it through Lowe, and then is tripped up by Kevin Lowe. There's no penalty. Oh, now they're really upset. The fans start to litter the ice. Debris comes flying out of the stands. Kevin Lowe taking some liberties with Gretzky, and it is still a 5-3 Edmonton lead. Well, some of the rally caps are out on the ice. The Kings trying to rally here, trying to get back in, but look at the job done on Wayne Gretzky.
Well, they try to have ticket in on him as much as possible this evening, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just the line changes, and they have different people on different lines that will pick up Gretzky. In this case, you know, it was Graves. This was a very controversial call. The ice has just been littered with everything that you can think of. Andy Van Helem says that Gretz, maybe, well, you took a dive in my eyes. This has stopped the game.
The reaction from Wayne Gretzky. A picture again worth so many words. And here comes Gosselin. Los Angeles will go with the extra attacker. 4-6 men into the Edmonton zone. The Oilers up with the puck, can't clear it out. McSorley dumps it in deep. Krushelnyski goes to the corner for it. Trying to get it to Gretzky back in the net. Wayne Gretzky to McSorley, and his shot is blocked, and the puck bounces out towards center ice. Duchesne back. Lost it. Tikkanen dumps it in. McSorley chases it. So does Curry. And Marty McSorley is able to put it on Krushelnyski's stick. He got it right back from Robinson, then couldn't handle it. Curry in forechecking for Edmonton. This is McSorley with a cross-ice pass. Thomas Sandstrom over the Edmonton line with a shot off the pads of Ranford. Kevin Lowe bangs one off the boards. It's held in by Sandstrom. Gets tied up here with Curry. The puck back. Duchesne centers one. Deflected. Blocked down. Gretzky shoots. He scores!
Jakes, they still have some time. Minute 9 left. That goalie getting out there, that just freed up Gretzky enough, and he didn't waste any time on that situation. He's sort of in his office. He's always around that goal line when there's little traffic down there, and he tries to position himself, getting out of sight and out of mind. Again, that puck came to him. Billy Ranford had no chance. Now, you might want to say, why didn't you pick him up now? Well, you want to say, geez, they've got the extra guy. What do? We just got to sort of break our checking assignments and just play it in a normal situation. Maybe they just say, I'll play Gretzky in a 1-for-1 and let everybody else react to the puck.
Ariel Gosselin is back in the nets. And a look at John Muckler. Prior to that, Wayne Gretzky. The time situation that Herb pointed to, 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the third period. And the lead is only 1 goal. The extra man on the ice, Wayne Gretzky, scores at 18:51. Duchesne and Sandstrom get the assists.
Follow me, Jakes. You're shadowing Gretzky all night long, and he had not had a shot, okay, for a couple of periods. So I'm saying when the goalie's out, I would still put somebody on Gretzky, and my other 4 people will take care of the other 5, because Gretzky is still the guy you got to hold in check. They elected to go just a normal situation, 5 against the 6, react to whatever variable there was. That freed up Gretzky.
Now the Kings get control of the puck following the draw. McSorley with a pass to Casper. Feeds across ice. There's Gretzky. Robitaille goes to the front of the net. Gosselin comes to the bench. Gretzky fakes, holds it, shoots. It's blocked in front. McSorley can't get it loose, and here's Anderson. The Kings with 6 attackers. They break up the Edmonton rush at center ice. Gretzky feeding it up to Steve Duchesne. Can't play it through Gregg. Now Gretzky gets to it again at center and dumps it in. Charlie Huddy has given it to Randy Gregg. Took some time, worked it to center ice. Duchesne with a pass to Casper. They step over the line. Casper plays it around the boards. Huddy tips it. It goes right to Gretzky, and then he gets checked by Huddy. Gretzky strips the puck away, flips it in front, over the stick of Casper. Sandstrom had been there as well, and Simpson dumps it out for Edmonton.
Jake's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't understand Edmonton here. They still got to keep somebody on Gretzky. They've totally let him go, and look at the opportunities that are coming about right now.
Now 10 seconds left as McSorley dumps the puck in right to Ranford. He drops it off. 6 seconds as you see the time tick down. In for it is Duchesne. Can they get another shot? No, they'll be beaten 5-4 by the Edmonton Oilers, and Bill Ranford, after a shaky first period by his team in front of them, holds on. He kept them in and now forces Los Angeles to the brink. And Sandstrom is being restrained here. As you look at Ranford, the officials are all over Sandstrom, who has gone to the Edmonton bench for whatever reason. Here's the confrontation. John Buckler exchanging some words with Thomas Sandstrom. I mentioned before how Sandstrom was starting to get under the skin of some of the Edmonton players. You see Wayne Gretzky getting involved in this. He is headed off the ice. Somebody just fired their stick into the Edmonton bench.
So, emotions running high as Edmonton take a commanding lead in the series. Game 4 is at the Great Western Forum on Tuesday, and the Oilers can sew up a